Ladies and gentlemen, this is it. Stand in line for your fix. A triple shot of Marcus in the mix, serving you yet another round of fish and grits. September 27, 2017. How's it going for you, fellas?
I'm doing all right, just trying to bounce back off some L's I took this week. I'm in some 1 and 2 holes over here.
Oh man, ain't no such thing as 1 and 2 hold. It's a long season, bro. Now,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it's like 1 and 6,
I'm
two
gonna,
and
I'm
five,
gonna tell you
yeah,
this:
exactly.
when you
that's
When
where
you
the
have one
top
and
thing.
six, that's a hole. That's when you got to scrape and dig a little bit. One
I've
and two,
I've been as
it's
far
nothing.
yeah, I've been as far as 0 and 3 and came back and got to the final. So it's possible, bro.
the only reason why I'm down because
It just depends on how many games in the season. If it's like it's a big difference from like 11 games to 13 games.
yeah, I'm just depressed because my wide receivers ain't showing up, and I don't see it any better, and that's why they
Oh,
making my list tonight.
that's all across the league, my man. It's a lot of
I
big
mean,
time names
what
just not
what
showing.
what I was about to say, what wide receivers are really showing up and showing out that we're expected to at this
Yeah,
point?
That is true.
like
That
Stephon
this is
Stephon
true.
Diggs is Stephon Diggs is top three right now. Nobody predicted
Adam
Stephon Diggs to be top
Thielen
three receiver.
from the Vikings is
Yeah,
also
the
in
top
that
12.
top three, top five category. So I mean,
Yeah. So yeah, it happens, man. It happens, bro. But we're gonna kick it off with all the biggest injuries that happened on week three. We are not gonna be reviewing the week three games. I mean, it, it wasn't a lot to see. I mean, outside of Tom Brady putting up five on the Texans, it wasn't a lot to see this week. Everybody was
March
pretty
to
mediocre across the board.
March to 45. March to that 45.
Yeah, he's on
I'm
Take
gonna
your
pace.
time.
need y'all not to. I'm gonna need y'all
He's
not to
on pace for
disrespect the fact
43.
that
So hey, he can throw in two more and get that record broken.
I'm gonna need
It
y'all not
is.
to disrespect the fact that my man broke some significant curses this past weekend, winning his first overtime game and finally beating every team in the NFL with his overtime win with
Oh, okay.
Bengals.
After
Congratulations
he
to
was
my
freaking
man.
out at
Thank
halftime.
you.
my man Wilson
I
was
never
so
freak out
nervous
when it
over
comes
there.
to games like that. I never
Ah,
freak out when it comes to games like that
You
because I
weren't
know my
feeling
quarterback.
nervous? I was feeling a little nervous for
You have
Aaron,
to
man.
he was nervous.
understand. Here's the thing
He was nervous.
that's kind of hype, but at the same time, it's kind of not hype. And it's been proven over these last few years. Literally, unless it's like 45-0, I will never ever count out Aaron Rodgers in a game.
See, that's
I
the
will
that's the
never
luxury.
ever count out Green Bay.
That's the luxury to be in having a star on your side all the time. You could never feel counted out like when
Mhm.
you being a Spurs fan or if you got LeBron on your team or you a Warriors fan, no lead is never too safe. But from my
Exactly.
end,
I mean,
man, Andy
it's
Dalton.
one thing if it was like a 28 or a 35-7 lead, but it was just 21-7. That's
Well,
two, three
the only,
plays, easy.
the only reason why I said I was worried about it because Andy Dalton looked like he could do no wrong in that game, and you know how terrible he looked on Thursday. So it was like night and day, and I was like, damn, if Andy
Well,
playing like this.
like my man Tony Romo said, they've played out their script because they usually script their first 20 to 25 plays. Right after Tony Romo said that about the Bengals, they scored 3 points the rest of the game.
See, that's what I'm tired of Tony Romo predicting the future and shit on his
And he's striking
broadcasting.
while the iron is hot because he still identifies with what's going on in today's league. Now, 10 years from now, when the league changes again and personnel and systems and stuff like that are different, he won't be
Yeah,
able
he
to
ain't
do
gonna
that
be so
anymore.
spot
But
on.
you take advantage while you got it now.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Get into the
Exactly.
news, boy.
Yeah, man, it wasn't too many big injuries. It probably was like 5 or 6 on my account that I'm gonna go into, especially Darren Sproles, who just completely died in the second quarter.
Oh
So,
yeah, he
Good
collapsed. It was over.
God, sweet mother of everything.
RIP to Darren Sproles, good career. I
Yeah,
do not think we're gonna see him anymore. That's just my personal opinion.
like
I
his whole
mean,
body quit on him at the same time. Like everything just said, you know what? The hell with this.
he a
No,
small,
no,
he's
I don't
already
care
a
about
small
this.
body guy, so it ain't like he's Adrian Peterson where he can just bounce back, athletic freak. No, this is Darren Sproles, 5'5", maybe
And
five foot
he's
six
older
on a good
now, man.
day.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna be hard to bounce back from both of those injuries same time. Nah,
Yeah, so
I can't see it.
definitely one of the better all-purpose backs of all time, in my opinion. Then we also seen Kelvin Benjamin. He limped off under his own power, but that's not looking too good. Any concern with Kelvin?
Who?
Kelvin, oh, is he dead to you? It sounds like he's dead
Who?
to you. Oh,
Man, at this point, from a fantasy football standpoint, I don't think there is a single player on Carolina's team that's alive for me on offense.
that's a good point. That's a good point. I also had Michael Crabtree going into the chest situation. Had to go through some X-rays. He did not return. Yeah, I think
He
he's
hurt
gonna
his
miss any
chest.
time. Yeah,
Was he too busy puffing it out, talking noise about Josh Norman and them before they got embarrassed?
Huh?
Is that what hurt his chest?
Probably so. He might have got that gold chain snatched again, and it hurt his
He cried in the ambulance.
heart. In the same game, we seen Samaje Perine go down with that bruised hand after a brutal fumble, man. That was
Yeah,
rough.
man,
Yeah.
his hand looked like it collapsed too.
Yeah, it looked like something happened to his face too. I'm not too sure what happened right there. It looked like
Yeah,
the
that
helmet got
that
stuck.
injury is going to be
Yeah.
significant for them moving along because you run into
Well,
the interesting
even when you come
conundrum.
back in the doghouse,
Yeah, I mean,
so
you
I
run
mean
into the
that
interesting
fumble.
conundrum with the fact that he fumbled, so that's already going to leave him in the doghouse. But two, what kind of shape you going to be in running the rock, and how much is Chris Thompson going to act a fool while you're gone? Uh,
See, and everybody's been talking about Chris Thompson, but Chris Thompson reminds me of Buck Allen. He's been in that category of somebody who has been fantasy relevant of late, but from a football standpoint, they can never stay healthy because when they're given that role to, I guess, control the offense, they never, I guess, take control of it. Kind of when Doug Martin goes down and what's his name was his backup,
You talking
not
about my man?
Jaquiz.
Yeah, I know who you talking about.
Oh
Chris
man,
Shaw Sims.
Charles Sims, when he takes over, it's like he can never fully
He's
take over
not
because he
dynamic.
doesn't
Yeah,
have the body side.
yeah.
Same with Chris Thompson. It's like trying to put the
but
scat back.
nobody is asking Chris Thompson to be the franchise back. They're just asking him to catch swing passes and take him
Yeah,
70 yards, like
No,
he's
no, no,
been
Chris
doing.
no. That's what I'm
Christian's got
saying.
coming
But it's
in like
Samaj.
10, 14 touches. You know?
That's what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, if Samaj JP going down, they're going to probably ask him to. I mean, a lot of people believe that Chris Thompson is going to become a feature back, and he doesn't have the
Oh
make.
no, Rob Kelly is going to take that
That's
spot.
what I'm saying. But people, a lot of people out here believe that when Samaj JP went down, it's like, oh shit, oh Chris Thompson about to take over. But it's like, pump your brakes. Just
But that's
stand
what
back.
we're here for, to correct those people because they don't know what they're talking about. That's
Well,
why they
there
get
you
the
go.
fish and grits serving.
All
Yeah,
right.
we're not stupid over here on this panel, sir. We know that Chris Thompson is not going to be a 30 carry back. It's not going to happen. He's going to keep catching swing passes, get his yak up, and that's that.
Yes, sir.
We also seen two other running back workhorses get hurt, and Melvin Gordon and Jay Ajayi. Is there any concern for either one of those two? I mean, we know the injury concern about both. Who,
If
who?
Oh,
Matter of fact, who would you feel more
God.
comfortable with rest of the season, Jay Ajayi or
mm,
Melvin Gordon?
Melvin Gordon, for the simple fact that Melvin Gordon is kind of he can play through an injury. We seen that last year, and also on top of that, with Jay Ajayi, I have more concern about how that offense, basically both their
The
offenses look.
offensive line don't look the offensive line don't look as dominant as it did last year. Last year,
Exactly,
Miami was definitely a top five, not maybe top 10, maybe top five offensive line. I don't see it this year.
exactly, and then on top of that, with him already being on the injury report prior to even starting the season, that's a problem. That means that knee is, him not having a cartilage in that knee is going. It may be an issue, but if you have Kenyon Drake, you need to go ahead and get him as the backup, and then Brandon Oliver for what's his name over there,
I think
Melvin
that
Gordon.
I think that much like all things that we've talked about so far early in the season, like I said last week, if New Orleans is playing against your team, that's the cure all for anybody's ills. So I have no problems with Ajayi at this point. Because if he gets out this weekend against New Orleans, he's going to kill them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We can all see it easily happen. I mean, he
Yeah,
has
I
those
mean,
explosive type games. I mean, we
yeah.
know that he's capable of pulling off 300, 250 yards easy.
And that's the thing about Ajayi. Ajayi is not the guy that you come in to this fantasy football season looking at the rose-colored glasses like, oh, he's going to do like David Johnson and give me 1,500-yard games. No, he's a chunk player. He's going to go through and have 2 or 3 games where he's all right, and then he's going to have 2 or 3 games where he's going to give you about 180 to 210 yards
Where he's
of
gonna win your week on his own. Like, I'm gonna
exactly.
give you
He's gonna single-handedly strong on your weeks. He's gonna have like 4 or 5 games in a year where that happens, and that's cool. I mean, it's that boomer bust type mentality, but when you know what you're going through and what you're buying, I mean, there's no letdown there.
100% agree with that, man. Let's jump into the fishy and gritty players from week 3 moving forward. Who wants to start it off today, man?
Um, I mean, I always kind of go first, so go let Wilson go
Why you want to let me go first? Why ruin a good thing, babe?
because I want to see
It's
what you got.
always
Okay, I'll go. I'll go.
it's
Let's keep
always
it.
beauty before age. Let the old man pull rank and let you go
All
on
right,
ahead and go first.
let me go. So we're gonna start with Fishy. You may do all of them. What you want to start a quarterback?
Yeah, let's start with the quarterbacks on
All
either
right. So
side.
my fishy is a quarterback that I've been said pump the brakes on. Don't trade for. Try to get rid of. I saw it going into the season with the injury that he had last year and the surgery. We have Cam Newton. When you stink it up against New Orleans, That's a red flag. That's a red flag that something's going on. And with you losing Greg Olson on top of losing Kelvin Benjamin, though he said he's going to come back and he'll be all right, I think there is a problem.
No, I'm with you 100%. Like I'm very low on Cam Newton right now. I was really hoping that he would go out so my man Wilson could get rid of him. Now it look like he's gonna have to make that decision to either keep him on that bench or just downright cut him. And I'd hate to be in that situation, Wilson. I
Oh,
really would.
somebody will get desperate, and I stockpile quarterbacks, so it's not like he's really vital to me at this point for anything other than trade
Yeah, I
bait
got yeah, you
in
yeah,
any of
you
my
don't need him.
leagues. So yeah,
Yeah, you definitely don't need him. The
yep.
quarterback that I went with for this week, and maybe it's this week only. I think he's gonna turn around sooner or later. It's gonna be Derek Carr. I just didn't like how he looked in the primetime game. His weapons are starting to go down. The running game didn't look effective. His offensive line performed terrible. Like I feel like
You
last
could have
year
put that
a
whole
lot.
team on your 50.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the offensive lines from last year just did not show up this week. If your name not
Hmm.
Tennessee, so I'm just a little cause for concern, especially with his main target Crabtree going out, his number one. Let's
You
just
right.
keep it real at
You
this
right.
point.
And
So
before the
I'm
season, I called Cooper being number one, but no, it's really Crabtree. I don't know what's going on with Cooper, and those drops are concerning.
yeah, six drops through 3 games. I thought he was past that from his rookie year. So we starting to see him go on reverse, but I'm thinking the Raiders have the talent to turn around. But at this point, we're just gonna have to see. But as for now, I'd sit him.
That you have a point, and another thing I want to address with them, Kirk Cousins never is good on prime time. I believe that we've seen
Never.
that over the years.
He
He
got another
looked
prime
like
time game this weekend. We gonna see the real Kirk
we're
Cousins.
gonna see reverse. He gonna probably
Hmm.
stink it up. I don't know what happened with Oakland. I don't know if they were still
Hmm.
dancing back in
Maybe it's the
Oakland.
trip. I mean, that's a hell of a trip, man. We talking
That is
the
a long
West
time.
Coast to the corner of the East Coast, my man. Like, damn, Washington D.C., bro. Like, that's a long
But
ass trip.
but then again, I mean, yeah,
But you
defense.
but you are an NFL team. You getting paid all these millions of dollars to do things like this. You know you got to
Yeah,
roll with
you
that.
got to wake up and you got to snap out of it. And I have a lot of respect for Oakland. And I feel like they are going to get it going, but
Definitely,
against
I agree too.
Denver, in Denver,
Bro.
shit, I
Nah,
don't know.
not
That's
this week.
another L.
Not, not this week, bro.
But who you got, Marcus?
I'm going to go ahead and stick into that wonderful all-world quarterback division that was discussed earlier in the preseason, and I'll go with another NFC South quarterback, and that would be one Jameis Winston, who does not look like he seems to be progressing that much at all. Granted, he had a pretty
Hard
difficult
knocks curse.
test because the defense that he was going against is no slouch, but you would still expect somebody that had that many weapons at their disposal playing on a fast track to actually show up and put better numbers up. Uh, so with me,
And what you got at RB?
my running back that I think of as fishy just because he is in that Jay Ajayi style, where it's kind of a chunk, hit or miss, boomer bust type thing. And then considering coming on a short week where he's playing and who he's playing, I'm going to have to go with Mr. Howard from Chicago. Great to see him break out and finally have one of those Howard games that we saw last year. But again, in that same pattern from him last year, he had weeks where he was on, he had weeks where he was off. This happened to be a week where he was on. This week, coming up on a short week, this Thursday, going to Lambeau Field against a pretty fired up Packers team.
Hmm.
I think he's going to have a week off.
Yeah, you might be right about that.
All right, there we go. All right, who you got, my man?
For running back,
Oh, I'll go. I'll jump in real quick. I got Paul Perkins for myself. I didn't like nothing that
Who?
Paul Perkins did. Yeah, another one of those who is Mike Jones guys. Uh,
Man,
I feel like the Giants don't have any type of running backs right now, and
none.
he's definitely not taking effect of that role. And once again, I'm tired of just blaming the offensive lines. At some point, you got to break your own fucking tackles. And this dude has been tackled on 88% of his carries. He's not breaking anything. So it's a cause for concern. Like Paul Perkins got to go. They should have signed Adrian Peterson. If I was them, I'd at least call the Saints to see if I could maybe trade a fourth or a fifth rounder to get Adrian Peterson over there.
Call Seattle and give him a sixth for Fat Lacey.
Do
that is
something.
true because
Do something.
I mean,
Fat
but
Lacey can break tackles. He may not be fast, he may be slow and eats a
And,
lot, but he can
but
break
that's what Paul
tackles.
Perkins not doing, and that's the problem. Like even
Exactly
you
what you
you you
need.
got you got
You need
you got
somebody
to
that's
have
just
running back that
going
can
to
get those
plod and get you
yards
some
after
tough
contact.
yards.
Yeah, you need it, especially with
but
a
I
quarterback like Eli.
but and then with Paul
Especially
Perkins,
if OBJ is awake like he seemed to be after this past weekend.
With Paul Perkins, I just think the red flag's always been there with him. Honestly, we saw it last year. He was okay. Orleans Dark was hurt, so I guess they're gonna have to rely on Paul Perkins. But the
Oh,
Giants
that's
knew
that's the worst thing you could say.
the Giants knew that they needed a running back. I don't understand why they didn't attack and try to get any
And they
type of
took
running back.
Wayne as deep as this draft class was. Y'all
They took a
take
tight
Wayne
end.
Gallman.
I
Wayne
still,
Gallman.
I'm still mad they took Ingram. To be honest with you, I feel like they could have addressed the
Oh, they got
offensive
to be upset.
line.
Look at all the running backs that went after Ingram. I'm talking Mixon, Hunt, Cook. Like Jesus Christ, you could have had any of them.
Yeah, Cook would have been nice for their offense, but for
They
my
all
fishing,
found talent. Go
Cook
ahead.
would be hurt right now.
that's true because that offensive line is terrible.
Cook would be hurt right
But
now.
do
I
you
mean,
think? I feel like
Minnesota
Cook
was
is.
terrible too.
I think
Cook,
Cook
yeah,
is
Cook is
adorable.
great.
Well, no. Understand what
He
I'm
make
saying. If you put Cook in the same Giants situation like right now, where
I got you.
OBJ started off the season hurt and they were gonna load
I
up
got
9 in the box on Cook, Cook would be hurt right now.
That's true. That's what they do in the Fournette over there in
Man,
Jacksonville.
hello.
And I'm really impressed that he's still healthy because they've been loading that box up. But with the way if Bortles plays like
that's a
Bortles
grown
played
man.
in the London,
That's a grown man over there, bro.
that is a grown man. But hey, man, we'll see.
Bortles is Europe. Bortles is kind of like
It's
hoodie
good.
Carmelo.
Exactly.
So
You're right. He turns it up.
They might as well just move over there. I mean, I feel like
yeah,
they
that's what I'm
probably
saying.
go 12 and
Just be the
4.
London Jaguars. Just go ahead and do it.
Super Bowl team. They stay over there. Shit.
Exactly, man. They
10
made
and 3 next year. They stay in London.
my fishy running back of a week. What was it 3? Man, it's Crowell. I don't like how it's looking over there with the Browns. The fact is that the man complained about touches and about getting more touches, and what happened? He
Dude,
got no touches. He got no touches. I mean, that's a problem. And with the touches that he did get, they weren't productive because if you look at it, he played the Colts and he should have been able to get off against the Colts, but he didn't. That's a
But
problem.
at what point in time were they leading or in a position where they could actually start pushing the run? I think
But
that's the
Jacoby
bigger problem
Brissett
with
launching that
Cleveland.
damn rocket all around.
Yeah, I think that's the bigger problem with Cleveland is, to my knowledge, I don't think that they've ever been leading at any point in any game this season,
Yeah, I
which
heard
kind
that.
of keeps you
Yeah,
from running the ball. I mean, you gotta
that's why
throw your way
Kaiser
back
getting all
into it.
these. Yeah, that's why Kaiser getting all these damn passing attempts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
so
mean, when you're in that position where you're kind of playing from behind all the time, and you got to throw your way back into a game, and you know they're not going to involve Crowell in the passing game as long as they got Duke Johnson there, it just kind of leaves you hamstrung.
this is a
Although I
problem.
think, ironically enough, that situation might also change this weekend because somebody in Ohio is getting a win this weekend.
My money is on the Red Rifle.
Oh no, it ain't gonna be no ties. Somebody is gonna get a win in Ohio this weekend. It's just the nature of the beast right now. Them folks right there are fired up. Trust me. It's gonna be a bloodbath in Cleveland this weekend.
That's gonna be a good game. Hey, that's gonna be Cleveland and the Bengals is always a great game.
Also, good
It's
football.
going to be a bloodbath.
Good football every week. Who am I
in
kidding?
Ohio.
I mean, as long as the game is on, it's good football.
Oh yeah, I mean it's compelling matchups everywhere.
Oh, who you got at receiver, big dog?
I got man, this guy here has been giving me a headache. I propped this man up like he was a fantasy great. It was a breakout season coming for
Don't
this
be like
man.
that.
It's gonna be the second coming.
It's still time.
It's still time, but the problem with this guy is
But I understand if the patience is getting low because you see everybody else
I'm
performing
going
around
to
him.
tell you what I told. I'm gonna tell the world like I told DeMarcus. When your quarterback throws for 350 plus yards and you only get 19 of those yards, and you're quote unquote the number one option, that is a problem. And you played Oakland, man.
Josh Doxson.
Are y'all talking about Chris Thompson?
No, I am talking about. I'm talking about
Terrell
Pryor. Terrell Pryor is stinking up my fucking fantasy squad, and the only thing
Jordan Reed was out. That's the part that hurt.
That is sad, man. It's terrible that Pryor he's lost like Mike Jones. I don't know. I called the number. There was no response. He was lost. I don't know what's going on with Terrell Pryor. I don't know if it's him and Cousins. If John Gruden, if Gruden wants to be,
he running some half-ass routes too. Like Terrell Pryor is not.
He looks lazy. He looks very lazy.
He just looks like a 6'5" like power forward trying to.
And I'm not liking
it. He looks like a converted quarterback trying to get a paycheck.
Hey, you know what he looked like? He looked like Kelvin Benjamin last year when he was a little fat.
It's not that he out of shape. He's in damn good shape. He just he just don't want to play receiver right now. It's
Yeah,
like he looking at Kirk Cousins like, I remember when I used to throw the ball. It used to be
yeah.
something else.
Terrell
Yeah,
Pryor, I
do
don't know.
something.
He needs to get some. He need to get on this for the pussy challenge or something, and get some
Boy,
because he needs to wake up. This
he do
dude needs
something
to
for the
wake.
he do something for the football. He don't need.
Yeah, do something for them catches. Do something for the targets. Do it for
Man,
the
he needs to do
targets
something
challenge, man.
because he
Nah,
ain't getting
he
nothing.
ain't gonna do it. He ain't
Eh,
gonna do it.
So I don't know. He's a person that am very low on right now. I feel personally responsible for lying to people and telling them the hype that I was having for Terrell Pryor. So he's letting me down, man. I'm gonna give him a phone call later on, and we're gonna have a little chat.
Don't feel bad. It's still early, man. And everything come to fruition. He can have a 300-yard game and be
See,
right back into the
and
receiver one option.
I'm
You
not
never.
trying to be too long about this, but the thing about the Redskins is their matchups don't get any better. That's what's the scary part. See, I was
Well,
one.
we still don't know what's a good defense and what's not yet. In my opinion, I feel
Oh,
like a couple that's a good defense, but we don't know for sure. Like, oh man, they gonna lock people up. Cause I mean, you still able to pass around on the Chiefs. The Chiefs may be winning, but they still getting up some yards.
we shall see.
I was about to say because it's not like I really think that Cousins is gonna have a bad game against the Chiefs. He might throw for 350
Yeah.
on them too.
It's
And
it's.
Terrell Pryor gets 20 of those yards.
I feel like this week, we officially reaching like the quarter point. Like if he don't at least get 50
Yeah.
yards, just 50 yards. I'm not saying a touchdown. If he can't get 50 yards, 3 for 50, cut bait,
Yep,
cut
I
bait.
agree.
I feel like that should be it. The receivers I got is going to be the Baltimore receivers, not all the Baltimore pass catchers, because I feel like the tight end's going to be involved, running back's going to be involved, but those receivers, Flacco don't got no time to find them, and they running half-ass routes. They all look slow. If he had Macklin and Wallace from like 10 years ago, this would probably be a 3-0 team. But at the current stage, he got these receivers, ain't nothing happening. So I'm staying away from him until further notice.
Man, is it me or it just looks like a lot of these players look old out of nowhere? It just seems like everybody just
Maybe,
got old.
maybe it's the fact that we always knew they was old, but it's not until it actually hits. Like, ooh, he lost. Like
Like
for me,
Baker looks old.
it was Andre Johnson. I
Yeah,
always feel like Andre could do no wrong. And then it was just one state. I see DeAndre Hopkins rookie year, and I look at him. I'm like, Andre getting old. Andre dropping shit. Like, who is this dude? And then that's when everything started turning. But that's when you realize the NFL is in constant motion. It's always going to be a new star that's popping up. You know why everybody's stuck on Andre Johnson? Here come Rashard Matthews in Miami, damn, they putting up 1,000 yards,
exactly.
but nobody talks about him. So it's always a change of the guard going on in the NFL.
I feel you on that pump the brake on that on their wide receiver core.
Yeah, I'm not touching him. What you got, Big Dog Wilson?
For me, my fishy wide receiver is a man that to me has been overrated for a while, and now people are going to have as my Coach Popovich voice comes in, that uncomfortable conversation. That this man is no longer a number one wide receiver. To me, he's a slightly above average number two at best, and he needs help. And that would be one Dez Bryant.
Mm.
When you cannot get off as your number one option, if you cannot and consistently be a viable target, even when you're not, even if somebody isn't getting over the top help on you, and you still can't seem to get open to make plays to help your young quarterback and running game, that's a problem. That's an issue. When you have people like the Bryce Butlers of the world and Terrence Williamses of the world that are vastly outperforming you at this point, you don't get paid to be a decoy in these fantasy streets, homeboy. I need production.
He's touchdown a bus.
Terrific Herculean display on
shouldn't
that
say that with a
touchdown
number
catch
one
and
receiver.
run.
Like if you're a
But
number one receiver, you need to play like a number one receiver week in, week
yeah,
out. You getting
I
paid
can't.
like one.
Yeah, I ain't got time for all that. And understand, again, people listening at home and the billions around the world, understand that we're saying this squarely in the confines of fantasy football. I think Dez is a wonderful player. I think he's a wonderful athlete. But that ain't getting my leagues won week in and week out, 2 catches for 12 yards and a touchdown. That's not going to do it for me.
A
That's
pissy
not
like
wide
eight
receiver
or 10
one production.
Yeah, with
Receiver one production for somebody that's targeted so much to have so little to show for it. I can't do it.
I agree with that. And on top of that, with Dez, he's like he's moved into the territory of touchdown or bust. That's all it is because he'll get
he's
targeted in the
way
red
more
zone.
talented than that. That's what I
Man,
don't
he
understand. He's way
targeted out the yin yang. He
He's
gets
really.
super duper
I'm
targeted.
gonna be honest with you. He slows down that offense because Dak Prescott looks
He
terrible
looks for him, and he looks for Dez.
when he's not looking for
Yeah,
Dez.
he's
He looks
like the most
good.
targeted receiver in the league.
But
Yeah.
that's the thing about it. When he's not targeted, when he's not involved in the offense, Dallas looks good. That's the tale of two halves. When you went to that second half, when Dak was just kind of like, "Hey, I'm gonna play free ball and throw it to whoever's open," it looks good. Don't throw it to Dez anymore. Don't force it to Dez. Anytime he forces the Dez, Dallas looks slow. They look lethargic and they look predictable. And I personally agree with you said. Dez is a person that I'm not too high on, but I think their schedule does lighten up. So I don't know. I think he can turn it around.
It
Yeah.
lightens up to a certain extent, but I mean, you're still going to see the usual suspects coming down the road. I mean, it doesn't get any lighter anytime soon. And if the amount of production that you're getting from him so far as catch as opposed to number of times targeted persists, nah, that's a waste of time.
Hmm, there you go.
And you
Unless
got
you
it.
play in a league where they give you gimme points, a half point here, half point there for targets, that's a waste of time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, give them half them 0.5 for them targets. I'll take it.
I mean, you go through and you got some leagues that'll go through where they'll give you like a quarter point or whatever for targets. I mean, you can get an extra 5, 6 points with Dez the way that Dak tries to get him involved, but he just doesn't
Correct that
show up.
separation. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you have to establish that separation. You have to fight for those 50-50 balls. You have to go out there and go through and muscle, you know what I'm saying? And not to sit here and be a homer about it, but I'm going to be a homer about it. And to me, that's why you can't sit here and compare Dez Bryant to Jordy Nelson to me, because everything that Dez doesn't do, Jordy does. Jordy will fight for those balls. Jordy is going to
Mm-hmm.
get those corner just in front of the diving defensive back
A
at the
hard work
last
rate.
minute, end of the game, touchdowns. He gets those kind of catches. Dez
Who
doesn't do that.
who compared them?
I mean,
Those two.
I've seen a lot of people compare. Me
Oh,
personally,
I
I
hope not.
haven't, but I've seen a lot
That's
of people.
terrible. That's a
When
terrible
people
comparison.
drawing out their
Oh,
top
I've seen
five,
a
they
lot of
always
people
like
make
to
those. I've
slide
seen a lot
Dez
of
at
people
number
make those
five.
comparisons.
Oh, they
Yeah, they
foolish
always like
then.
they
Make
always
those
like throw Dez at
comparisons
five, and
just off the
I
simple
put Jordy
fact
at five.
that Brady loves company and stuff like that, and because of the simple nature of the fact that those teams play each other quite often here recently, it's just a natural progression that's going to happen. That's Green Bay's number one, and that's Dallas's number one. So those comparisons will always come up for nothing more than just scouting purposes. Same to me, no. Do they have the same type of skill set? To me, no. Because
Jordy has
unfortunately,
separation.
Dez Bryant has a better skill set. He just doesn't use it. Uh, Jordy is one of those guys that you could tell that did not grow up being that fast or that coordinated, and he's
He's a
worked at it
must-kill receiver.
tirelessly to become that good. Uh, as for his speed, he's deceptively quick, and his football IQ is through the roof because the relationship that he has with Aaron Rodgers is borderline psychic. The
Yeah.
way that they click is the way that Dez should have been trying to work to click with his young quarterback. And until he gets to that point, he's going to be a wide receiver too to me. Because to me, looking at it, has better chemistry with Dak Prescott than he gets open better. He gets into those holes in the zone better. He makes more explosive plays than Dez Bryant does at this point. So
And who was that? You said we lost you for a quick second.
I'm sorry, Bryce Butler.
Okay. Yeah, I like Bryce
To
Butler.
me to me, he's more explosive in that offense than Dez is. He has a better chemistry with Dak Prescott than Dez does.
I can believe it.
And who you got at tight end, bro?
My fishy for tight end is the biggest hit or miss dude this entire season, and they are really pissing me off with this, and that would be Hunter Henry. 1 week you get touches, 1 week it's not I go from getting 10 touches to 3
Zero.
touches. I go from getting 6
Zero.
touches to 0. Like 1 week I
He's
will
out.
be in the offense, 1 week I am completely ignored, and that's crazy to me. But I mean, it almost makes him borderline untouchable at this point.
It's the coach. That's a running coach. He want to run the ball like crazy, and he really don't want to
That and I
utilize his players.
respect that, but at the same time, man, I mean, you got to understand the nature of the beast that you dealing with and the nature of the quarterback you're dealing with too. Mix it up. Those some people's a different look. You know what I'm saying? When you got talent out
Still
there
made
at
his
them skill
career targeting
positions.
his tight ends, and you taking away his best asset.
Yeah, exactly. Why would you take away a quarterback safety blanket? Historically, I mean, that's every quarterback pretty much in the NFL's safety blanket is going to be their tight end. It's just the way that the league is now, and you actually have 2 good ones that you're choosing to ignore. So,
Bro, a Hall of Famer. and an up and coming tight end.
Yeah, I mean,
How many
criminal
people can
how
say they got two tight ends that have got 10 touchdowns in the season? How many?
hey, it's criminal of good that how good that offense could be if the offensive line was halfway decent because they have the weapons on deck on the Chargers offense. But once again, this season has shown us and showed every fucking body, if you have been paying attention, that if you don't have an offensive line, you are trash and you're going to struggle. Seattle, we've seen it with how Oakland looked against the Redskins. We've seen it with how the Rams night and day, how they were horrible last year with the offensive line. Now look at them, they're killing it. So I mean, offensive line it's a that's what I'm be looking at going forward. And when I go into I want to say next year for fantasy, I'm gonna start looking at the offensive line. If your offensive line is shaky, I may not want nobody on your team. So that's another good thing to be looking at.
Yeah, I'm with you 100% on that. The tight end that I put, I mean, he's pretty much already dead to me, but I just want him to be dead to everybody else. We're gonna be holding a funeral this weekend. That's Tyler Eifert. You can't trust him. I know people don't use high draft capital on him anymore. I'm pretty sure he went in like round 8 and below this season, which is a good thing. Nobody wasted the top 6 pick on him, but you just can't depend on this guy. He's gonna miss games early. He's gonna miss games late. He may come in like week 8, get you 2 touchdowns. You're gonna go on the waiver wire, pick him up, and he's not gonna do nothing for you in the playoffs. So wash your hands with it. Let it go. Andy Dalton already struggled, so you don't need a guy that's going to struggle and be inconsistent with his weapons. I was already low on him after that dumbass touchdown he got called back because he wanted to jump out of bounds and come back in and make the most perfect catch I've ever seen in real life. So, no, I'm done with him.
You're right.
Tell us how you really feel, sir.
Yeah, you see that he jumped smooth out of bounds, came in and toe tapped like Academy commercial style. Like, sports and outdoors.
So much anger, so much angst.
I was high on them in all season. There go another bust that I called. Oh man,
once again, that's not your fault. It's not your fault because the talent is there, and this is a guy that has a 10 touchdown season on his resume. You cannot blame yourself for trying to get a tight end that's going to finish top 5. But it's his fault for not staying healthy because he know damn well he got some issues. He needs to sit his ass down. He don't need to be trying to come to training camp running like he did this season. That's not what you need to do. Stay down, chill, and come back healthy because you are the second piece to this offense. Andy Dalton is nothing without you. And it's like he's not realizing that. And by trying to come back early for the team, he's actually hurting the team.
And we can just go ahead and go forward to the gritties because my tight end was going to be that same person who was getting dropped off all of my teams, and that's Tyler Eifert. And so I'll go ahead and start it off with the gritty. My quarterback, Mr. Grit himself, Mr. 45 and marching, number 37 and counting, is Tom Brady. The man just sliced and diced, and he improved me right there. I think the march to 45 is on the way, and he's trucking along, and I'm loving the way he's playing. I'm loving how Hogan is playing, Gronk is playing. I'm loving how the running backs are getting involved in the offense, and that Gillisley, you won't be stealing Tom Brady's touchdowns no longer. Tom Brady is tired of it. He's going to 45.
Yeah, he ain't playing that shit. Tom Brady on the mission. I can definitely agree with that. The gritty,
he's about to claim out.
Look at him. He hating. He got on like 2 teams. He over here hating.
Hey,
man,
I'm about to throw. Hey, I'm gonna predict this. He's gonna throw 4, maybe 5 on the Panthers this weekend. Book it.
That wouldn't be too hard of a task. I mean, we've seen Drew Brees piss his way to like 3 touchdowns. So
it's going to be hard because Luke Kuechly is going to come through on that middle linebacker blitz in the first quarter, and Tom's going to sit out the rest of the game. It's fine.
Like I said, book it 4 to 5.
The guy got a good quarterback this week, and maybe it's just from the performance that I've seen, but it also has a lot to do with the fact that he's still on that franchise tag. Kirk Cousins got something to prove. So the fact he got something to prove and he can take out a Terrell Pryor and still throw for 350 yards, that was still pretty impressive. We can clearly see that the offense is in his hands. It's similar to what you got with Carson Wentz. It's the quarterback or nothing. We have somewhat of a running game, but we really want to use our running backs in the passing game, set up blocks. They really don't got to give any running back 20 attempts. They can go out there, pass it 46 times. May not get the dub, but it's going to be good for fantasy production. So I like Kirk Cousins going forward on his prove-it contract.
Yeah, okay. For me, in the grand tradition of things, because we haven't done one yet, I have two gritty quarterbacks.
Of
Uh,
course. Of course.
just to show a little love so people don't get, mad at me or whatever, assume that I'm just a career hater or whatnot. Show a little bit of gritty love to one young Deshaun Watson. Hung in there, demonstrated a lot of progression, ability to survive under fire, fought hard. They came up short, but he gave Texans fans that were paying attention some pretty good glimpses of what's to come out of that young man. Uh, Very heady kid. Not one that just relies on instinct or talent. He actually has a pretty good high football IQ. He makes some very good decisions at times. He still has a lot to learn. And one game does not a career make, but it's good to see that he had that kind of fight out there on the field against the defending champs. My second guy, who I've still been railing about all season, it's the year of the golf, buddy. That
Oh
man is
yes.
still going through. He's
Oh yes.
still producing. And the one thing that I love is the thing that you really can't teach the young QBs. That man spreads that ball around. He don't play no favorites. He's just trying to get them yards, homie. That is a wonderful, wonderful trait for him to have with the skill set and position talent that he has on his team right now. And going forward, Rams fans actually have some hope and some reason to be excited, because if they can make some moves in the offseason and through the draft and kind of upgrade their skill position talent, they could be on to something next year.
Yeah,
Like what I
I
see out of
agree.
Jared Goff a lot. Now it kind of is one of those, let's look back at that draft and wonder who made the pick and why. Yeah, a lot of folks that used to laugh at the Rams before they got rid of
Old man
the
Fisher.
Fisher. Yeah, they're looking pretty damn smart right now with golf, and golf actually has impressed the hell out of me this season.
Yeah, he did a damn good job against 49ers on Thursday. I was highly
Yeah,
impressed by some of them throws and a lot of those catches. Boy, Robert Woods was, man, I don't know what's going on with Buffalo, but when people leave Buffalo,
They start
shit,
shining.
they are shining bright. They are, man, they bright as shit. I don't know what's going on. Was it Rex Ryan? What happened? Sammy Watkins was out there looking like
well, they played a
Clemson Sammy Watkins.
wishbone in Buffalo. Yeah, of course, a receiver is gonna leave and look good when they leave Buffalo.
Let me
Nobody wants to play in a wishbone anymore.
let's
Yeah,
let's,
you
let's be
get no
honest.
talk. You lucky to get 20 targets in Buffalo.
Let's be honest. Let's go down the track record. When Fitz left, he looked good. When Robert Woods left, he looks good. When Watkins leaves, he looks good. When Gillingsley leaves, he looks even better. But I mean, the Tom
That ain't
Brady
hard to
gonna
do.
talk. And then also the boy Hogan. Hogan looks like Jordy Light over here in New England. So I don't know what's going on. There's something going on
Don't
in
ever
Buffalo.
compare Hogan and Jordy Nelson in the same sentence
I
again.
tried not to. I said
Don't you
Jordy Light.
blaspheme
I
like
said
that.
You
Jordy
get
Light.
so
Don't you
irritated with the
don't you
Packers
blaspheme like that.
Oh
Don't you
my
blaspheme like
God.
that.
Jesus Christ.
Chris Hogan is not White Lightning. Don't you ever put that juju on him, Ricky Bobby.
That's funny. So so let's go for. Let me go for my running. Oh, we going to running backs, or what we gonna do?
Yeah,
We can
let's
go
go to
wherever you want to, player. It's
Yeah,
on
let's go to
you.
running backs because I got two of them. I want to go next. I got two running backs that were my gritty of the week, and this is a slap you in the face to DeMarcus Jordan
Mm-mm.
Howard for what he
Mm-mm.
did.
for
He
one
was
week.
out
What
there
you say?
For
balling.
1 week.
Who
Hey,
that boy is again? What his name is?
hey, shout out to two people, to Jordan Howard and DeMarco Murray. Two people we thought were dead this week. Two
Man,
people we
DeMarco,
thought.
you punk mother.
Man, I saw that DeMarco run and I said, damn, this dude was getting it. And I got to give
DeMarco
both of them.
sabotaged the shit out of me in fantasy this
Oh, yeah,
week.
man. He that was a trap. I literally thought, I said, we came on here last week and I said, you know what? DeMarco's out the door. Hello,
Yeah, I was
Derrick
like,
Henry.
Henry gonna get his time finally. And who showed up on the field? I was like, where did
DeMarco
this
Murray.
son of a
I said, who rolled this nigga out here?
With the Sooner band in the back.
Man, I was very mad.
promptly started eating. Promptly started eating. Just no. It won't take me long. Give me a second, fellas.
Yeah. He was out there and he was wilding, and I have to give Gritty to both of those boys because they really held him down last week. From I thought they were halfway into the grave, and I think they really bounced back
Howard is
very
still
nicely.
halfway. That shoulder is hurt. Like you seen it. Don't try to deny it.
It's
Any
hurt.
team that's
It's
gonna
hurt.
try to avoid contact with their shoulder,
It's
he's not
hurt.
gonna
But guess
last.
what? If you can play with your injury and you can still put up those numbers, I
And
like
how
you,
long
and
can you
that's
do that in
great.
the NFL?
That's fine and dandy. I don't want to say that I was going to keep him from
So
for
much
life,
hatred.
Like
but I have
Wilson
to
So
said,
give
much
him
he,
credit.
he
hatred.
I
may
have
he
to
may
give him.
die this Thursday, so we're gonna be holding
Hey,
funeral
I
services along
think
with
he
him and
looked
Tyler
better.
I
Eifert.
don't know.
I
I
think
don't
he
know.
looked
Freeman.
better than the running back that he was playing against.
Exactly, because I'm gonna tell you right now, Freeman kind of sliced and diced. I'm not Freeman. I'm sorry. I'm tripping. Mixon was really looking good out there. So I feel like Jordan Howard can body him a little bit. It's gonna be
And
interesting.
that's why Mixon is my gritty running back of the
Yes,
week. I
sir.
love to say. But my man has the backfield in charge. Jeremy Hill, you might as well start looking for another team, pimping, because you are out of there. And Mixon's going to take over. I think he's going to explode this week, and he's going to have a top 5 running back week.
I
I
hope so.
expect him to have his first touchdown against the Browns, even though they are on the road. But I expect at least minimum 120 all-purpose yards from Joe Mixon and a touchdown. And that touchdown may come in the passing game,
I like
just
it.
to
I
show
like it.
y'all
I
that he
love the
can do
call.
everything.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? If I was the Giants, I wouldn't mind trying to holler at them and try to get Hill off of the Bengals.
Hey, if they can get anything for a player that's in this contract, yeah, get it.
Yeah,
Get
I
it. I
agree.
mean, even if it's a 7th round pick, you need another
Pretty
body.
much.
Paul Perkins is not the guy.
He is not the
At least we
guy.
at least we know Jeremy Hill has had what 10 touchdowns the last 3 seasons. At least you know he
Hmm.
know how to get into the end zone. He may not
And
be
he
able to
can
do
ground and
nothing else.
pound. And he
He
can
may
and he
not be
can
able to do
really.
nothing else,
Hey, it
but
is what it is.
that's
But hey,
that's the that's
everything
the
is better
type
than
of
Paul Perkins.
yeah, that's the type of running back they need up there in New York, man. Well, who you got, Wilson?
Exactly. That's exactly what they need in New York. They need somebody like that. But I mean, this is the Bengals that we're talking about. This is the Giants that we're talking about. So we'll see if somebody grows a brain and makes a phone call.
They won't.
Uh, my greedy was actually Joe Mixon as well.
Double up, double up, double up.
Like what I saw out of him, like seeing him get out there, stretch his legs a little bit, get a little comfortable.
Hmm.
Nothing earth shattering per se. No real okay. Let's shake it and take it to the house type things. But he was consistent. Had that fall forward mentality. He ran hard. He made sure that he stayed aware in the passing game,
And
which
you
works
know
out
what else
good.
I like? I know this is a small detail, but last week on the Thursday night game, he was playing special teams. And I know it meant like special teams, but anytime you got your special teams core, that's the best you have. That's the people that you're trusting. So when you already have the coach's trust to go out there and be part of that 11-man group, that means you're going to be a part of this team in some form or fashion.
Pretty
So
much.
he already has trust in the group. So it's only going to go up from here. Like all the potential is there.
I
Yeah,
agree.
unfortunately, the scheme isn't there because Cincinnati don't use workhorse running backs, so he will be capped by his
Yeah.
coordinators.
Hmm.
I think he should at least get 18 total touches a game, at least.
He
If
can get
not
Well,
18
20,
total touches a game, but it just depends on how they get him those touches and what context of the game, because those 18 touches can go for 50 or 150, depending on how they choose to utilize them. But I'm not really too trustworthy of Cincinnati's play calling at this point because, again, much like Romo said, and much like we saw in this game against the Packers, once they get past their script and they got to actually go live time and adapt on the fly, they don't seem to do a very good job of being aggressive offensively.
I agree. Who you got for wide receiver?
My gritty wide receiver is a guy that had to come in and pinch hit because the guy that usually plays in front of him was hurt. And in the most drastic of times, he came up with one of the biggest plays of his young career, and that would be one Geronimo Allison.
Geronimo.
Geronimo.
And in that slot primarily and being that third guy with Randall Cobb being out, really big for Aaron Rodgers. He had his fair share of mistakes in that game, had some drops, but Aaron was like, I'm used to throwing to my slot in these situations, so your ass is going to get up and you're going to catch these passes. And he showed up. Pass that he caught in overtime obviously was a huge play. Uh, moment for the kid, especially coming back from getting that 1 game suspension. It kind of had a sour taste in some of these Packers fans' mouths, but looking more and more like a very reliable target in that offense. Rodgers really starts to trust him a lot more. He's been a fan of his from the time he got on the team. And the 3 guys in front of him should be nervous because with him playing the way that he plays, that's going to make one of them expendable.
You all right. You all right. You are the Green Bay fan, so you do have the insight. So hey,
Oh, we don't keep old players. That's why I don't go through that whole transition of guys falling off the table talent wise and 1 year looking good, the next year not, because you can count the number of people on Green Bay's team that they keep that's over 30 unless they're otherworldly talents. Because at this point, it's Clay Matthews, Aaron Rodgers, and Jordy Nelson. That's it. Everybody else, all pro guards. Wait, you turn 30, you're gone. That's just what they do.
My gritty player of the week for the wide receiver position is a man that I felt like was going to have I feel like he was going to have a good season, but he's on track to have a breakthrough season. We talked about him earlier. I watched his game and I was really impressed about a lot of his catches, a lot of his runs, and then playing with your third in the pecking order quarterback. Got to give it to my boy Stephon Diggs. He really showed his ass out on Sunday. He was really balling. Man. I mean, I was very impressed. He was very Randy Moss-esque, but he is not Randy Moss. We know that.
Y'all talking about Martavis Bryant?
No, I'm not talking about Martavis.
About who?
Bye-bye Brian, who should have been my fishy of the week, because you know what? What's fishy about that? He's the fishiest person in the offense, but I'm not going to get on Martavis Bryant. But Stephon Diggs did a wonderful job, and I really want to congratulate this man because I think he's on his way to a breakout season.
Is Stephon Diggs the smallest number 1 receiver in the NFL?
I don't believe so.
Well, Tyreek Hill.
I think it was him. It was Tyreek Hill Brown.
Number 1. I don't consider Kansas City having a number 1.
Tyreek Hill is the number 1, bro.
I don't consider Kansas City actually having a number 1. And if I had to pick a number 1, it would be Kelsey in Kansas City instead of Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, but Kelsey's going
being perfectly honest. But he's the shuffle pass guy now. He's that shuffle pass guy.
That shuffle pass.
Jeez Louise, these fools keep going to that, and it keeps working.
It keeps working. I can't believe it. I cannot believe that he keeps on. They keep on doing the shuffle pass, and it works.
They keep rolling the dice.
And it's keep on working. But yeah, man. I mean, Stephon Diggs, he's a young man, so he has a ways to develop. But he has a talent. He has the hands. He has the speed.
Talent.
If he can stay healthy, route running is all pro in my opinion. I have to give that man some love. And if he can if the Vikings offense, and me and DeMarcus is high on it, that Packers fan over there, he doesn't like it too much. But if they can,
I think it's cool. I don't have anything against it.
If they can finally settle on a quarterback, a healthy quarterback, and finally get to, I guess, mesh together, they can really have something special because that defense is popping, the running game is popping. You have the weapons there. The offensive line is still looking good. They gave Case Keenum a lot of protection, and I got to give them some love.
I'm with you 100%, my man.
Where was this game? Who were they playing?
Here you go.
They were playing the Bucks, but that's the crazy thing about it is because we think the Bucks.
They were playing Tampa, right?
Yeah, they was playing Tampa, who I was high on.
But wait. But
Tampa also died on defense. I didn't.
But they were playing. Were they playing in Minnesota or in Tampa?
In Minnesota.
Because see, Minnesota is one of them teams like Atlanta that you got to pay attention to and stuff like that. Because when you're not on a fast track indoors,
that track, yeah,
they play different. They play different. That's the only reason why I hold reservations about the Vikings. When I see them win ugly games outside, then we can talk about it. But until then, I don't believe it. Same way with Atlanta. Atlanta's got a nice close call from Chicago. Why? Because you're playing outside, playing a little greedy against a physical team. They're great when they play indoors on fast tracks. They're more of a finesse team than a strong arm team.
I agree.
Minnesota on offense is the same way. And that's not going to make me believe them late in the year when they're playing in their division when they got to go to the Lambos and the Soldier Fields. That's the only reason why I hold reservation against them.
Yeah, I highly agree. I agree.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. The receiver I got.
But that being said, don't get me wrong. I love Stephon Diggs. I think that kid is an awesome talent. Don't get me wrong. I think that kid is going to be a terror in the league for a while.
Yep, I hope so.
I agree with that too. The receiver I got is more of a buy low candidate because his quarterback is going to be arriving pretty soon, and we already seen what he's able to do when you throw him the ball deep. That's my man T.Y. Hilton. I mean, It got to be a good deal. You don't just
Whatever.
go out there and sell the farm for T.Y. Hilton. But when Andrew Luck come back, we clearly see he's going to be the number one. And who got benched this week? Did anybody notice that? Dante Moncrief got benched.
Moncrief.
They don't have Dorsett no more. So technically,
Whatever.
he's the only true receiver they have. So if you want a number one receiver, grab T.Y. Hilton.
And you know what you know what I'm loving? Can y'all hear me good?
Yes, sir.
I want everybody to hear me and listen. This year, I want to say in the NFL and also in the NBA, if we look at the small guy, this is the year of the little guy because a lot of these wide receivers are little. They're smaller than normal. You know, we usually
You can't catch them.
But that's what I'm saying. You can be anything nowadays. Like, you know, it used to be a time where you didn't want no 6-foot wide receiver out there or 6-foot corner, but people are still being successful and still having productive careers being small. And I'm loving it. It's you know, it's kind of opening the doors. And same with the NBA with, you know, Curry being undersized and a lot of these.
And you guys are young.
Oh, what? I know I'm young. I'm 27. I'm a young man.
So when you were a baby, the actual trend was reversed because you could count the number of receivers over 6'2" on like one hand. It's always been a Smurf league for wide receivers for the most part.
Yeah, they didn't have Spark Camp back then.
You go back and you look at most Hall of Fame wide receivers that would come down the pipe from the 80s and early 90s and stuff like that. Most of them are 6 feet at the most. This growing trend of, well, I can't really make it at AAU camp for basketball, so let me go play wide receiver is something that's privy to y'all's generation. That's why it's so fascinating when we see the AJ Greens and the Julios and the Megatrons and stuff like that, because that was a once every 8-10 year thing back in the day. Now it's common. Now it's kind of awkward if you don't have what they call, quote unquote, that red zone target guy on your roster. Back in the day, like you go through, you can look in this city alone. Warren Moon Oilers teams, all of them dudes were shrimps. All of them dudes were small, 5'8", 5'9", 5'10". It was a jitterbug league. You wanted those quick, shifty guys. You look at the Buffalo and that K-gun offense. All of their receivers are short. You look at the Andre Reeds, the Don Beebes. I mean, those guys were just smaller. It was more of an anomaly to see bigger guys back then as it is now. Now it's something that it's awkward if you don't have a 6'2", 6'3", 215-pound guy at receiver. It's just one of those things. It's just one of those trends. And like you said, it's because they didn't have Spark camps and all this areas of specialization and recruiting at the middle school and high school level for athletes and stuff like that. But it's just a sign of the time.
You're right. Who you got for tight end? Let's go ahead and knock out these tight ends. Yeah. I want to start it off because
get it in, then, homie. Get it in.
I've been singing this guy's praise. I need everybody to get this man attention.
It almost sounded like you started singing just
then.
I
was about to sing his praises. Everybody has been. It's amazing. People complain about the tight end position, talking about, I want a consistent tight end. Oh, but if I don't get Gronk or Kelsey or Ertz or Delaney Walker, I'm stuck out. And I hyped this man up. I told people, this guy is going to have a breakout season. He's going to be solidified as probably one of the top 5 end tight ends because there's nobody else to challenge this guy in the offense besides a running back. And that's my boy, Charles Clay, once again, holding it down, making spectacular catches and playing big boy football. And I got to give this man some love. He will finish in the top 5 of tight ends this year, if not 3.
Snap.
I'm loving the attention that he gets from Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod is always looking to him, and I
he ain't got no choice.
That is true. He has no choice, and because he has no choice, you have no choice but to start him, put him in your starting lineup, and ride that way to a championship. Had to get the people some singing.
Right the way.
Oh my goodness.
Who you got, Wilson?
For me, I'm going to go through and give my boy Griff a little bit of a backhanded salute while at the same time keeping my homer status in for another guy who stepped in when the high price free agent didn't produce. Was impressed with what I saw out of Lance Kendricks playing in that game against Cincinnati for the Packers. Whereas it seemed that Martellus Bennett couldn't catch anything. Lance was like, yeah, I know all the routes, coach. I can me to, I can catch that. Do that. Yeah. Let me come in. Uh, and granted, it's one of those flash in the pan type things because he doesn't really get that many snaps on the field. I want to say in that game, even though he put up like 3 catches for 52 yards and a touchdown, he only played a total of like 19 snaps in that game as opposed to like 63 for Bennett, who came up way shorter than that. But I think that it was just one of those things with that next man up. Because I think in that second half, him, Geronimo Allison, Jordan Nelson, and Aaron Rodgers really, really strong armed and carried that team to an overtime win. So I just wanted to give him a little bit of props and I guess backhandedly acknowledge that even though it's not cold outside, Marty B seems to have the cold hands.
Who?
That guy. Exactly. That guy.
It's a little chilly outside, Marty. Put your jacket on.
Yeah. Put the mittens on, fella.
Well, the gritty tight end I got for this week and maybe for this week alone. In the NFL, it's 2 different types of tight ends, and we've had this debate. We had this debate early in the season. You got your blocking tight end that'll come from Iowa, and you have your pass catcher tight end. The guy that comes from Iowa would be one C.J. Fedorowicz. That guy's the blocker.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that comes in to receive those passes is Ryan Griffin. Ryan Griffin, with a rookie quarterback, is going to get targets. He's going to have minimum 6 catches.
They play together a lot.
60 yards. They may or may not have a touchdown in there also. So if you need a tight end for this week, throw in Ryan Griffin. Yes, the Titans has a decent defense, but they're going to be at home. Momentum's going to be going. I expect the tight end to get fed. If you need a tight end for this week, get my man Ryan Griffin.
Oh, you could start him, guaranteed. Oh, he'll finish in the top 10 of this week. I'm gonna tell you why. Because
that's 6 for 16 possible touchdowns.
Look at the boy Jimmy Graham, who could have had a bigger game against the Titans. They have not been slowing down the tight end position because who did they play?
No, not really at all.
Jared Cook went off against them, so I think Ryan Griffin can sleep and probably have a maybe 7, maybe finish number 7 this week with the matchup he has.
It's a lot of their. You got people like Hunter Henry getting 0 targets. It's quite possible, bro.
That is true.
I wouldn't count it out.
I mean, they've gone through and dedicated a lot of their linebacker
Mercedes is not going to get 3
the quarterback and not covering tight ends, so he can get off against them.
I agree. So there we go, boy. Some good fishy and gritty folks today for the people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's been the week 3 fishy and gritty people on the Fish and Grits podcast. Now we're gonna be jumping into the week 4 overview. Let's see what kind of matchups we got this week. We're gonna start with the Thursday night game with these sorry ass Packers going against.
I love it. I love it. Please make sure you guys time date stamp the last time either one of your teams beat mine.
Hey, my team beat
exactly. Exactly.
I can't remember. It was a long time.
Talking like Aaron Rodgers got 3 or 4 Super Bowls now. I mean, damn.
No, I'm actually talking like Aaron Rodgers is pretty good against the Eagles, and Aaron Rodgers has never lost to a team in Texas. That's what I'm talking like.
The fact that you
never lost at NRG, never lost at AT&T. I mean, we can keep going. We can keep going. Aaron Rodgers' record against Texas teams is spectacular.
You see how Wilson
does the Super Bowl. I mean, damn, you act like he's the greatest thing in the world.
Don't worry about the Super Bowl. This thing
doesn't have to be the greatest thing in the world. And see, y'all are talking about stuff that doesn't have to do with direct competition with one another. I'm not talking about going back and reading the resume on titles or anything like that. When you and I are debating, I'm going to go my team against your team. And then we're talking Packers versus Texans, you're coming up short. I didn't bring up anything about
any play once every 4 years. Get out of here.
See, I'm not going to look. I'm not going to be like
even with that being said, you're still losing every 4 years. So
you act like Rodgers didn't lose to the Texans. Hey, he lost that game in 2008. Pimpin', like don't get it twisted. He's lost to the Texans before.
Who lost the game in 2008 in Lambeau, right?
Yeah.
So exactly what I said is still exactly true, right? Aaron Rodgers is spectacular in the state of Texas because he's never lost to any Texas team.
He's lost the game. He's lost the game. You act like he's undefeated. Don't matter. He's lost the game.
I know that he's spectacular against y'all. I know that he's or actually, it's more specifically, I know
Packers
that.
Fan, man. Look at this guy.
I know. Well, no, he started it talking about the sorry ass Packers or whatever. So I just wanted to give him a history lesson. All I know is Texas and beat an undefeated, greatest in the history of their franchise Texas team on national TV. Embarrass that ass. So until you do something that's comparative, don't say anything about my team. If you don't want to get this lesson. I'm just saying.
Now that I can speak, I think it's pretty hilarious that you are our co-hosts, and you know how many times your team done whooped both our team. Hey, this nigga got some ammo on us. I gotta come harder.
Bruh.
He's sitting.
I own certain reading materials at my house, and I think that every young African
Bro,
American
get
male
another
should
Lombardi
own. One of them
trophy.
is the Art of
That's
War,
all Rodgers need to do.
and
Get another Lombardi. Get that. Get more.
Hey,
Get the same amount as
for the
Eli.
feature enemy, you have to know your opinion. Is it that
DeMarcus,
you're
no.
telling me to tell my quarterback to get another trophy, and your team has no trophies to speak of whatsoever?
I know
But
mine ain't
DeMarcus,
got one, but this is a quarterback that's in the conversation of being the
whoa,
greatest of
whoa,
all
whoa, whoa,
But
time.
you the
whoa,
one that
whoa.
started
Okay,
off
hold
talking
on.
down on my team, so you started
Hold
doing
on.
that. I didn't say
Hold
nothing
on.
about it. That's on you.
DeMarcus, now that's not act like we don't know the reason why he don't have more trophies than he
Hey,
doesn't.
ain't our
He
fault.
has
Ain't
he
our
got
fault.
the
That
he got the
Boston
defense.
catch.
No, he has the defense that always lets him down and he has to bail out.
I'm not
Two,
worried
he
about
has an
any of
offensive
that. You can
line
say
that
whatever you want to. At the end of the day, I don't have to. I don't have to take up for Aaron Rodgers. His resume more than takes up for itself. It's
See, that's why
fine.
I try to tell people. See, that's why when it comes to football, it's a team sport. And I don't knock quarterbacks that don't, I guess, win it all or get the championship all the time because it's got to be a collective team effort. Because if I'm doing my job and everybody else is not doing their job, shit, what do you think we're going to do? We can't win nothing. And Aaron Rodgers, time in and time out, as good as, as Tom Brady has been in his career, Aaron Rodgers has proved time and time again that he's another step ahead of everybody else. And we gotta get that man some credit.
Oh, I give him his credit. As soon as he loses to the Steelers in February, we'll all be
Oh,
celebrating.
here we go.
But as
This
far as this,
Steelers talk.
as far as this
Boy,
Thursday is
stop.
concerned,
Steelers ain't gonna be nowhere near Minnesota in
oh, boy,
February.
you
The way
crazy,
they looking,
Yeah,
crazy,
losing
boy.
to the,
they
the to
can't
the
even figure out if
Bears.
they want to stay in the locker room or not. So they
Oh,
done.
hell.
What they gotta do with anything? Because they got a peaceful protest going on.
Go
All right,
ahead and keep your
all right.
locker room divided.
They not divided.
Oh, they
United.
Yeah,
divided
okay.
Big Ben. Hey,
Yeah,
Big Ben
don't
coming out.
tell that lie to yourself.
Hey, Big
United we
Ben
stay.
coming. Big Ben coming out and having a problem with them staying in the locker
I
room
lost
is
sleep
a
over this
problem.
anthem. I didn't lose sleep when I raped them two girls though, but I lost sleep over
Oh,
this
Hey,
anthem.
do,
Yeah,
do they have
whatever.
video evidence? Do they have video evidence?
They
oh,
got video
DeMarcus.
evidence of the wire transfers on the settlement.
Maybe he left his leather jacket in there, but that's about all they
Mm.
got.
Oh, he left something else in there.
Plastic condom in there.
Maybe he
But
left his semen
never
somewhere.
mind. Never mind. What is
That's
it that we're
about it.
supposed to be talking about again? I'm sorry.
Oh, the
DeMarcus,
Oh,
I'm
Packers
these
and the
sorry
so
ass
Bears.
Packers.
distracted right
Yeah,
now.
these sorry ass Packers going against the almighty
Mhm.
Chicago
Yeah,
Bears.
yeah.
Those 85 Bears.
Rawr!
Mm. Mm.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't think that's how
85
Bears sound.
Bears.
Well, we don't have to talk
Man,
that.
85 Bears.
all
Oh.
seriously, this game is going to be like 21-7. He may score 28 depending on how
No,
they.
this game is going to be more competitive than you think, and it's going to have more points
I
scored than
think
that
I think
because,
Jamal Williams
as
is going
people
to
will
finally
learn
get a couple
time and
carries this
time
week.
again, this is the oldest rivalry in football, and it don't matter about the records. It's going to be competitive. It's not going to be by accident. It's going to be a good game.
I think Jamal Williams is going to get a couple carries this week. I don't think off a short week they're going to try to run Tom Montgomery to the ground. So I expect him to get
They've
involved in
already
the
said
offense
that
a little
they're
bit
going to
more.
run Jamal Williams more. They've already said
And
they're going to get Jamal Williams more involved. It's
and
going to
also
still be a
the
challenge because
number
the
two
tackles are.
receiver, the number two receiver for the Packers is also returning Randall Cobb to
Yeah.
reclaim his throne as the number two receiver. So yeah,
I don't like that
that's how I see this
disrespect.
game.
I don't like that disrespect for Devontae Adams, but you know what? It is what it is, man. I don't know what's going on with Devontae Adams. He needs to wake the fuck up or something.
Well, no, it's just you got to understand that they've been playing this season, and you watch more importantly the way the defenses have been playing them. Defenses have been playing to try to take Devontae Adams out of the scheme. That's why Randall Cobb
Exactly.
has been getting
That's what I'm
targeted so
getting
much.
mad.
It's not a thing of not. It's not. It's not a thing of Devontae not playing well. He's just getting that over the top double coverage respect. They're
Like
trying
he
to
was when
literally
he put
take
number
him
one
out
on
of the
the
offense.
roster. It's the same coverage. It's
Yeah,
the same coverage.
that's what I meant to say. That's what I wasn't. I that's the part that I've been seeing. It ain't Devontae Adams. They've been playing him like he's the number one, the de facto number
Yeah.
one. And I'm not trying to. That's no slight on the Jordy Nelson, but they really have been showing Devontae Adams a lot of love. So that shows that
Because he's black.
Well, it's
Oh,
common sense.
there
Well,
you
no,
go.
it's a young
Cover the
a
black
young
man.
Thundercat.
Don't get the white man.
It's a young Thundercat that's in there that actually, when it comes to his hand-eye coordination, has the
It's
best
good.
skill set on that team, and he's in a contract year, so he's going to try to do anything and everything to make plays.
Yeah,
They know what time it
I
is.
drafted him because he in a contract. Yeah, I need him to perform. But yeah,
Trust me, it's still Early in the
It's still
season.
early. It's still early. But yeah, from a fantasy aspect, I mean, from the Bears side of the things, I am interested in. I think Tariq Cohen and Jordan Howard are valuable. I mean, I give him in the
Oh yeah, they're both gonna get numbers.
running back
They're
too.
both gonna get numbers.
Both of them running back too, because we seen from the Packers game. I'm not trying to throw no shade on your team, but the defense is not as great
Nah,
as what we were
bullshit,
led
bro.
to believe. And if you
Sorry.
see how
Well, no, they're banged up and they give up chunk plays. That's their
they
thing. They're a bend but not break type defense, so they're going to give up yards. They may not give up a whole bunch of points, but they're going to give up yards.
that's what
And guys like Tariq Cohen and Howard are going to eat as a result.
that's what I was saying from the basic standpoint. When you
Between the
look at that game,
20s.
but if you look at that game as when the Packers played the Bengals, they were a lot of the damage was done in the passing game with Mixon and Bernard, and they really kind of beat him on the edge. So Tariq Cohen is going to be able to take advantage of that, and I think Glennon's going to play competent enough where he's going to get the ball to. I think the sleeper of this game will be Kendall Wright. I know he had no targets, no receptions last week, but I think you can pass on the Packers, and I think he's going to take advantage of that. I don't think you can pass. I don't know what's going on with Glennon last week. I think that he's going to have to get it going.
I see the full meltdown coming.
Oh Lord,
I see that
Trubinsky train.
Thursday night meltdown coming,
So
and I
that
wouldn't be
Trubisky train
surprised.
coming.
Wouldn't be surprised if Mitchell hit this game. Would not be
Okay,
surprised at all.
okay, I can see that too. I can too. But personally, start those two Bears with confidence. If you want to take a flyer on Kendall Wright, I'll take a flyer on him. But from the Green Bay standpoint, go ahead and give it to him, Marcus. Who they gonna start?
Everybody not named Martellus Bennett.
Yep, I love it, guy. Because I hate that boy Bennett, but hey, I love it.
Especially Randall Cobb. Y'all start Randall Cobb, damn it. Y'all would not
Oh, and they'll
regret
start
it.
Geronimo Allison.
Cobb is going to get a lot of that underneath stuff. Allison and Kendricks are not going to have as big of a role because of the fact that their targets that they were getting were the ones that Cobb would have gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Now that Cobb is back, Cobb is going to get all of those targets. They'll still be there in a pinch, but they're not going to get enough of a workload to really merit that. And the other part about on the flip side for Chicago is Wright their number one receiver right now.
Yeah, I mean he's their
like pretty much by default. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, kind of. I mean, I guess.
Yeah, you might as well count him out because they're getting more and more comfortable with that rookie Kevin King in Green Bay, and he will be squarely on right.
And
he will be squarely on right.
I know we long on this, but I want to talk about this right quick. The de facto number one wide receiver, honestly, is Tariq Cohen because he's averaging like 7 targets a game, and that's leading the team. So I don't know.
And also, side note, Quentin Demps is out, so the middle of that field is going to be wide open for Jordy Nelson to be scrambling.
Shut your mouth.
You're going to see
Randall Cobb catching 2 TDs.
Ooh, damn.
Catching
bold.
2 TDs.
Oh,
now, if you look at it historically, Randall Cobb has always had really good games against Chicago.
Always.
Man, he's quite fond of the Bears.
Then moving on to the first game that's going to pop off on Sunday, you got the Titans coming into the Texans' home. This is a game I expect the Titans to dominate on the offensive line. I think they're going to be able to run all over this team, man. I really do see it coming. I think they're going to come in here, pull a big upset on the Texans, drop them down to 1-3.
I expect that be an upset.
I expect at home. I mean, that's a home game, man. But I expect DeMarco Murray to probably pop off about 80, 85 in a touchdown. I expect Derrick Henry maybe have 50 in a touchdown. I think they're really going to try to get both of those running backs involved. That's what I see this game going.
I disagree with DeMarcus on the fact of this being an upset because the Titans are favored in this game. So I don't think it's too much. It's an upset for if you're a Texans fan. But
I don't really see where it's an upset.
Because you haven't lost to the Titans in 2 years.
Well,
so
that's
the aspect I'm coming from. I understand they have a better team. Don't get me wrong, but
we're talking about from Vegas standpoint. From Vegas standpoint,
it's not last year. I mean, outside the games you dropped to the Titans at the end of the year, but this is the first competitive game that you're going to have with the Titans that you really may lose.
I don't really.
DeMarcus got that fandom. Fandom is seeping out of you, DeMarcus. This is not an upset.
I mean. Bro, oh my God, y'all taking this so out of context, dude.
Don't say y'all.
The Titans.
Don't say y'all.
We just playing, boy.
I'm just saying, we always beat the Titans, and for them to come in here, y'all act like I'm saying the Texans gonna win. Like y'all, like let it go.
We just playing. We just playing, man. We just playing, man. Nah.
Oh man.
I know what you're talking about from a standpoint from the Texans. They always whoop up on the Titans. I mean, hey, it's never successful against us, but. At the end of the day, I think you can start, like you said, Derrick Henry. I think a viable option. I wouldn't personally. He'll be in my flex. He's not. I'm not starting him as with confidence.
I wouldn't start Marcus Mariota. That's who I wouldn't start because I expect him to fully try to milk the clock. Milk the clock, force Houston to score. Yes, they had a good offensive showing last week, but I don't know how consistent that would be. The line still had problems. Yes, they masked a couple things the linemen do, but you had 10 days to prepare for that game. So
Rashard Matthews.
you should be able to prepare for that.
Start Rashard Matthews and Delaney Walker. Rashard Matthews shows you why he is the number one wide receiver, like I claimed and like I said he is. Until further notice, he's the de facto number one. So I think he's going to have a decent game, and Delaney Walker is always reliable. So he'll give you 5 catches for like, what, 50, 60 yards, maybe a touchdown.
I'm going with 28. I'm going with 28 to 14. I expect Foreman to get his first touchdown. I expect Ryan Griffin to get into the end zone.
Oh, I didn't know he was going scores. I don't have a score. I just know that on the Titans end, we know who to start.
I don't think that anybody in this game is good enough to win by 2 touchdowns. That's a bit much to me. I think that game, because it's a division game, I think that's going to be like a 4-point game. I think it's going to be like a 28-24 game.
If it's one thing I'm seeing out of Watson, he's prone to make a mistake. And I think the Titans will take full advantage of that one mistake he's able to make, and they're going to turn that into points. That's what's going to deflate the team. He's gonna have a turnover.
But this game comes down to a strength on strength, because while the Titans have a great offensive line and running game, the Texans have a top 5 front 7. So they're going to still have to go through and do what they can to get their shot off. And the same way that Watson
we said the same thing about Seattle. I mean,
look the same way that Watson is prone to make a mistake, Mariota is prone to make that same kind of mistake.
Not as much. Not as much. I mean, we're talking about
if you get enough pressure on Marcus Mariota, he's going to do 2 things. He's going to make a mistake, or he's going to get hurt.
Watson started 2 games, already got 3.
So you got to get to the red zone before you get to that point. He got to get to the red zone.
Yeah, once he turned it over and they damn near return it for a touchdown, yeah, they're going to be in the red zone.
Well, I'm sorry that you don't have that much confidence in your squad.
I mean, I picked the Titans to win this game in the preseason, so I'm sticking with my pick. I mean,
hey, so from a fantasy standpoint for the Texans, I would start DeAndre Hopkins. He's once again gonna get peppered with targets. So
he's had 7 catches in all 3 games, so he's a safe start.
Yes, you can treat him as a wide receiver, high wide receiver 2, maybe a back end 1, and then also let's look at. From the running back position, Lamar Miller is nothing but a flex until otherwise.
Foreman's going to start taking over this week.
I still don't think they're going to give it to Foreman. He may get start.
And I'm putting like this: 3rd and short, they're gonna know who to put in from now on.
We're talking about from a fantasy standpoint.
This is fantasy because if you're at the goal line, you're on the 1 or 2 yard line. Who's gonna get that touchdown?
Oh, that's touchdown a bust. I don't want that. I don't want that on my team, and I don't think nobody.
I'm not saying start Foreman.
I would take it.
He's lowering Miller's value, and I wouldn't start Miller this week.
From a fantasy standpoint, Devontae Foreman is nothing but
not Deontay.
Not my fault. He's nothing but a stash on my bench and wait and see what that backfield plays out to be. Because I don't feel confident starting neither one of them. But with Lamar Miller, I know that he
has a better chance to score a touchdown is Foreman.
Pretty much.
Easy. Like all day. Because
that's cool. But that's cool that you can score a touchdown. But that's not what I want to just go off of.
No, that's why I say don't start them. Don't start either one of them.
Because that's what I'm saying.
Because it's still a changing of the guard right now.
Lamar Miller still is a valuable flex type of running back. There's nobody, I'm not going to say bench him because you can still run on the Titans. And Lamar Miller still has the talent to at least pop one off or catch one and take one.
We haven't seen that down
but that's
here.
Fine and dandy. But I would hate to tell you that Lamar Miller can't at least give you maybe double-digit points in your flex. Then you put him on the bench and he fucking goes off, and then you damn.
That happened with DeMarco Murray. I mean, it happens all the time. It happens all the time.
But then that's more of a fluke than anything. You can't sit there and tell me that
if Lamar Miller pop one out, that's going to be a fluke because they'll be the first one.
Okay, so this is where you're tricking people because when you compare him to DeMarco Murray, DeMarco Murray had a whole week of not practicing on top of he's going to Seattle. I mean, he's playing Seattle. So no, you with your common sense, you would not start DeMarco Murray. But Lamar Miller still is getting like 15 touches a game, and he's going against the Titans. But that's fine and dandy. Lamar Miller is still giving you double digits in your points. So you tell me you wouldn't take double-digit points in your flex? Flex spot.
The thing is, Marcus, it's not a guaranteed double digits. You're hoping that he can at least pop off a couple 20-yard runs, and that's not what you really see out of Lamar Miller. and you're gonna start to see the changing of the guard. I mean, we kind
Who
of see it last
who?
week because they almost had the similar amount of carries, and I think we're gonna continue to see
Let
that
me ask you a
going
question.
forward.
Who has the Titans stopped in the running game since week 1?
And
Nobody.
have you seen our offensive line?
That doesn't matter. I'm telling
No,
you what
that matters a lot. That
Lamar
matters.
Miller. Okay, so Lamar Miller gave you in a PPR. He gave you 11 points in Week 1 and 11 points against Cincinnati. Yes, he took a step back because against New England, but you don't tell me that he can't
He,
give you 11,
but
12, 13
all right.
points.
Listen to him. He took that step back because who got more carries and who got more touches? How many catches did Foreman have? He had more catches than Lamar, more targets than Lamar, and more yards than Lamar. I
Okay,
think that is going to continue to happen, Marcus. That's it.
you owe
That's
me
it,
some
man.
start. This is a candy bet. Lamar Miller will finish with more points than Foreman and more than 14 points in a PPR bucket.
You lost that one.
All right, you owe me
14
some start.
points.
Yeah.
I know, right? Hey, don't tell him nothing. He don't want to listen.
All right.
But on to the next game, we got the Saints in Miami, man. I think this is gonna be a shootout. I think Jay Cutler's gonna bounce back. I think him and Breeze gonna go at it. We seen some garbage time production from Parker last week. I still think the Saints is gonna be able to take this one from the Dolphins, though.
I mean, they will. I mean, Michael Thomas is back. He showed you the return is.
Uh,
Okay, what you got to say? What you got to say? What you got to say?
I never ever trust the Saints outdoors on natural grass.
You are right. You are right about that. But I truly believe that the Dolphins showed me that they are really a mirage of a
Yeah,
team, and the Saints.
they're working progress. They shouldn't have made the playoffs last year. Now I feel more confident saying that this year.
Yeah, man, they are
Now we
mirage.
have understood the trends and stuff that we've seen these first 3 weeks, right? Because just when we thought we've had people figured out and known what they were all about, they turn around and surprise
But
us,
that
right?
was the Jets,
Okay,
not
from
against the Jets.
Okay, that was a division game.
I
okay,
know.
so
I get it.
for
That was a
for these
division game.
So for these
I
games,
don't buy it.
we don't really have to worry about who's gonna win. I want to know the fantasy aspect of what they're gonna get. And the Saints will. I'm not starting Drew. I'm not benching Drew Brees. I'm not benching Michael Thomas, and I'm sure not going to bench what's his name. They're playing in London. You don't know how people's gonna really get up for that game. So I give it to the Saints that they're gonna at least put up a decent showing and give me some good fantasy points because it's gonna be a shootout, in my opinion.
I think Ingram takes over as D back this week.
Thank you. Why not? He clearly has showed you he's the best back of all three.
Adrian Peterson is a waste of 9 carries a game.
Whew. Just
Like
wasting
a
time.
waste, like an absolute waste. I think Tom is going to find the end zone again, and I believe that Willie Snead is going to have a strong game coming back. Not score, but in a PPR format, I expect at least 5 catches just to show everybody he's back and he can catch. Unlike Ted again, 5 catches for about 70 or
70.
80 yards.
There you go. I like that. I like those numbers. What about for the Miami standpoint?
For the Miami,
JJ,
is
start him up.
Devontae Parker. I mean, we seen on that last drive that Jay Cutler's guys Devontae Parker. I feel like he was just trying to test out what Landry could do in that first game, but his guy is gonna be Parker.
I agree.
Jay Ajayi,
Always has been.
I'm thinking he'll have a bounce back game. Of course, you got to start him. Don't get me wrong, but do I expect like surefire top 5 week? No, I think he'll find the end zone. But I think this is going to be a Parker game for sure. I expect at least 1 or 2 scores from Parker. I think Julius Thomas is going to sneak into the equation, get him to score at the tight end position. Maybe Landry have a good game, but I don't know. I don't know with Landry because we don't know what Landry we're going to get.
Landry, I think Landry, you're safe to say Landry would get about 10 targets. So he's going to get at least maybe 7 to 8 catches, and he can at least give you 70 yards. So he's a viable for your flex. And for JJ, he's going against the Saints. I'm going if JJ can't get it, I know he didn't get it with the
As long as
Jets.
he stay healthy. As long as he stay
I know,
healthy.
yeah, I agree. If
That's
he
it.
didn't get it with the Jets, but if he gets it going with the Saints, I think you can feel confident in him going forward. But if he doesn't get it with the Saints, then there's a cause for pause.
Because we've seen Dalvin Cook go off on the ass week 1, so he has the same amount of talent as Dalvin Cook, so he should be able to do the same.
Hey, he just can't catch my boy Dalvin Cook.
Should. Oh yeah, Dalvin Cook's a beast.
Yes, sir. Marcus, where you at? You quiet over there.
Oh, sir, I don't have anything that I disagree with, so I'm just letting y'all do what y'all do.
All right. We didn't
There's
know.
no need
I
for me
was
to
like,
say
man,
anything on every single thing if I don't disagree with what's being said.
I
Y'all
thought
good.
the aliens kidnapped you or something. I didn't know what was going on
Oh
over
no,
there.
y'all are good. I just it's a trio, and we all don't have to speak on it if we all agree on things. So I'm gonna just let y'all run with it. Y'all are doing an awesome job right now.
Hey, run it then.
There we go, man. We got the Bills going to Atlanta, the undefeated Atlanta Falcons, man. I think they're gonna easily take care of the Bills. I mean, I feel like
Can
we've
we
been
can
seeing.
we
I
pause
feel like
right
we've been seeing a little bit of fight out of them, but
Can I ask
I
y'all a
don't.
question? I'm sorry to cut you off. Was that a touchdown? Was that a touchdown that Golden Tate scored?
He was down, bro. He was
No,
down.
he was not. He
He was down.
floated. He floated. That is the most
That
bullshit
he was
The
down.
ever.
simple fact,
That
the
knee
simple
was
fact
not
that you
down.
used the word floated means that he was
Yeah,
down.
That no, his knee
End of
was not
discussion.
down.
End of
I kid
discussion.
you
I
not.
appreciate you. I
bro.
appreciate you for
He's
your
down.
You
effort. I
can't tell me
appreciate
that
you
knee
for
was
your
down.
effort, but no,
Nobody can
sir.
tell me that knee was not down. I
No,
looked.
I
sir.
feel,
I
I feel like because it was the
uh,
Lions, that's what made things worse. Because the Lions just have the worst luck when it comes to like game-ending touchdowns. I think it's because the Lions that made it worse. But he was
Yeah,
down, bro. He
yeah.
was down,
he
baby.
wasn't down. He
You can't
wasn't
give
down.
me floating as a reason
Well,
to
He
that
wasn't
the
he's
down
NFL,
because you
the
saw his
NFL
sentence.
said he was down. His fantasy stats only say one
Man,
touchdown, so he was down, bro.
that nigga was not down. He scored that touchdown, and I'm gonna stand behind it. I saw no knee on
You
no
gonna
floor
you
in
gonna
my.
go protest the touchdown?
No, I really will
floated.
because looking at the replay,
My
his
man
knee
really
was
hit the
not touching
Casper
the
hard.
ground. I kid
Floated.
you not.
Protest by reason of floating.
But forget this. I'm gonna talk about the fantasy aspect of this game coming up. Start your. What did you say over there? I'm ignoring y'all. I'm gonna continue with the show because y'all wanna
My man said
carry
he
on the
floated.
shenanigans. The man
Nobody
was
brought up
floating like
shenanigans, sir,
Michael.
except for when the concept of floating
It
got
took it
introduced in
took Casper
football.
Tate.
I
He
don't.
was
It took
floating.
Casper
Okay.
Tate.
He was floating like Michael Jackson.
All right. All right. Don't disrespect
He
Billy
scored
Ocean.
it.
Billy Ocean created the moonwalk, man.
But on the fantasy aspect on this game, I'm going to talk about from the Bills' standpoint. Start Tyrod, start Charles Clay, start LaShawn McCoy. They should get it going. LaShawn McCoy, honestly, there was a stat somebody said that LaShawn McCoy has broken the most, I guess, the first contact hits in the league at the running back position, which is pretty impressive that he's eluding tackles.
He's shifty. I mean
Eh,
that makes sense. It makes complete.
eh.
No, you just give him some. I'm giving him some love that LaShawn
I
McCoy is
mean,
finally
that's
going to have
all well and good, and that's great if you're going through and you're breaking the first tackle. But if it's two people meeting you in the hole, how many
He
more
done.
yards do you get?
Okay, well, this is the thing about it. I feel like Tyrod Taylor is going to keep Atlanta honest enough where LaShawn McCoy is going to be able to work and operate. Because I look back at that Green Bay game, not trying to
It's
compare
no
the
Vic Beasley.
Buffalo
I know it was 1 week, but not having Vic Beasley showed last week. It really did
exactly,
show last
and it
week.
showed that they couldn't
And
stop the
it
run
wasn't
because
like that defense was really stopping anybody with Vic
Yeah,
Beasley
that's what
because
I'm
they
saying.
gave
I
up
mean, that
tons of
was the one
yards
thing
to
they
half
had.
a Green Bay team.
But this
That's
is the
some,
guy that led the league in sacks. I mean, when you take away 14 sacks, it's gonna hurt your defense,
yeah.
regardless.
So
oh, definitely,
Charles
definitely.
Clay should finish easily in the top five. LaShawn McCoy, I think this is going to be his breakout game. I think this is where we're going to see LaShawn McCoy had a quiet game last year. I mean, yes, against last game against the
But who did?
Broncos.
Who
But who
did?
doesn't run good against the Broncos? But think about this that I love about LaShawn McCoy is that he got 7 catches that game. If my running back can give me 7 catches like that, I love it. He's the number one option on that team. He's the number one leads the team in targets. So I'm starting LaShawn McCoy up with confidence. And Tyrod, you know what? I take that back. He may finish as a top 9 quarterback this year. I've been impressed with what I've seen in
Oh my
Tyrod.
god.
I'm
Oh
back
my
on them.
goodness.
I think I'm jumping on that bandwagon again.
Oh my
I
goodness.
think I'm climbing
Oh
that
my goodness.
train. I shoot.
I haven't heard Zay Jones or Jordan Matthews' name, but you want to say
Oh
he's top
man.
nine?
Demarcus. Demarcus.
No, I got nothing.
Demarcus.
I
This
got
is what
nothing.
happens. This is what happens when T-Mobile customers sit in that good area and they figure, oh, well, T-Mobile is all that. It's great. It's good.
Yes,
And then
sir.
you don't understand that once you go out of that little service area, it's nothing.
The only
It's
reason why I
top
say
top nine. Roll with it.
the only reason why I say this is because one of the games that the Buffalo Bills lost, they lost because the wide receivers let Tyrod down. It wasn't because of Tyrod Taylor's play. It's because his wide receivers couldn't
But
complete
those are the same
catches.
wide receivers that he's
But
gonna have to depend
but
on,
no,
right?
no, that's the
And
thing.
you
No,
should
no,
have
no,
traded him
no,
back.
no.
Why?
Listen what I say. Just listen to what I say. And looking at how they played against the Denver Broncos, and I don't care what nobody says, Trevor Simeon didn't play the greatest game, but that Broncos defense is still legit. And for Tyrod to operate like he did and have that efficient of a game against Denver when we just saw how Dak Prescott struggled against the Broncos says something to me. It shows to me that this man has the will to win and the will to lead his team to win. And for him to put up those type of fantasy numbers without having Jordan Matthews do too much of nothing, and Zay Jones, who are both
Boy,
still
they
getting
both did
acclimated.
nothing. Just say
But
they
look,
both
no,
did
no,
nothing,
they're
bro.
both getting acclimated to the system. I don't see. This is the thing about it. I feel like when you look at a team, you have to look from the totality of the situation at hand. Jordan Matthews, they just got Jordan Matthews. He has to get acclimated. Jordan Matthews is not a scrub. Zay Jones is not a scrub. He's a rookie. He has to get used to the system. But with the weapons that Tyrod is known to play with and has a rapport with, are showing up and showing out. And Tyrod has showed you that he can at least give you 30 to maybe 40 yards rushing. He may can give you a rushing touchdown, and he can give you those 2 touchdowns. And I like his chances against Atlanta to have a great game. So hey, I'm gonna throw it out there.
I mean, he's on the fast track, and I mean, most defenses are going to struggle against a mobile quarterback. We seen it all this weekend. A mobile quarterback went off almost in every single game. I mean, so they're going to struggle. He's going to get his 2 touchdowns, and LaShawn McCoy should find the end zone. It's just the Atlanta side of the ball that I'm concerned with. I don't know who's going to score. I mean, my man Wilson called Sanu last week. Are you still riding in the flames? You still think Sanu going to step it up?
Riding the
Sir,
flames.
I am still really big on Sanu from the simple fact that Buffalo's defensive personnel is going to lend itself to cut off the Hooper option, and they're going to damn sure try that they cut off that two-headed running back option in the passing game. It's going to leave you out there with Sanu because Sanu is that guy that's funny to me because most defensive coordinators should scheme for him, but
they
they
don't.
get so caught up in looking at all of the speed that's around Sanu with Gabriel,
Taylor
with
Gabriel.
Jones, with
Playing for the
Freeman, with
backfield.
Coleman. When you're going through and you're planning out for all those speed demons, and then you look and it's like, oh, but Sanu, whatever, we'll find somebody, we'll put a safety, whatever, and stuff like that. And they kind of underplay how much of a skill set that the guy has because he's not the fastest guy. He's deceptive though. He's got great short area quickness and he has a high football IQ. When you combine that with the hand-eye coordination for some of the catches that he makes, Sanu to me is a virtual lock to start at a flex spot for me every single week because Matt Ryan knows that's his impromptu security blanket until he gets more comfortable with Hooper. Mohamed Sanu has that role. So I look for Mohamed to literally, like this season, I would be shocked if he didn't have between 55 and 65 catches and probably 7 or 8 touchdowns.
I love it. And Freeman really been showing out. That was once again.
I
like the Hey, let me pat myself on the back because it's looking like that was a good call by me telling people to draft Freeman over a lot of these wide receivers. There we go. There we go.
I mean, it's Freeman. It's a Seminole.
No,
how you gonna go wrong with that?
We are smart, but a lot of people doubted that pick. When I tell them, I said, "Hey, go get Freeman.
Man, you got some crazy Freeman.
Top 5." Hey,
you know something funny? You know something funny? My team hasn't been my college team hasn't been that good at it, but recently they've been hitting pretty good because in fantasy football right now with the Chris Thompsons, with the Devontae Freemans, and the Dalvin Cooks, Florida State's got some pretty good backs out in the league right now. That's getting you some points.
You're right. And Julio Jones, he's been consistent.
Julio's an automatic.
He did pop up on the injury list. He's going to be limited in practice.
That's an automatic too. To me, with that's the same way they used to do Megatron all the time. He always pops up on the list, but he always plays. Now, what do both of you guys think about Taylor Gabriel?
I like Taylor Gabriel. I'm not high on him this week.
I think he's kind of hit or miss. I don't think that he's a consistent start, but I like the potential.
He's super boomer bust. He's 160 yards or 0 yards.
Yeah, he's like a super boomer bust guy.
Another thing that I did not see going into the season, Julio complained about getting the ball in the red zone, and that was the thing that they were going to work on this year. And through 3 games,
they don't throw it to him in the red zone.
That's what I'm saying. This is the point I was trying to make was.
When you got Freeman down there, that can run him in.
But yeah, that's what I'm trying to tell people going forward. And through 3 games, we have not seen them really target Julio in the red zone. That was another reason why I didn't believe what they were going to say because I believed in Freeman having a breakout year, and with him having a breakout year, I didn't think
he been broke out.
We know he had a break. I know I'm talking about in taking control, like he was going to be kind of the fantasy leader of that team. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm trying to say. He was going to be the person. Like we think of it being Julio team. This was the year that I thought Freeman was going to take control of that team. And with that being said, Julio has really not given me the touchdown, and that's really being taken out of his game right now. So I truly believe
to his credit though, teams are actually getting smarter and they're scheming more towards stopping Julio because they want to test Matt Ryan and see if that
I mean,
last
when you
year
have a 300
MVP
yard
season was
game,
real or not.
that shit kind of stick out.
Yeah, I mean,
300 yards ain't nothing to play
and
with.
honestly, the other part about it, as far as people that are big Julio fans, fantasy wise, why you shouldn't expect the red zone targets to increase and stuff like that is because his entire career, he's been arguably the greatest red zone decoy in the NFL. It's literally why the Mohamed Sanu's and the Tony Gonzalez's and the Austin Hoopers and the backs coming out of the backfield and stuff like that have gotten so many red zone touchdowns is because everybody automatically assumes, well, you see
It's
this
going to
beast is
Julio.
manhandling you all down the field. They're throwing 3 and 4 people. If you really, really go back and look at some plays, they're covering Julio with like 3 and 4 people in the red zone, which leaves all those other folks wide open to get those kinds of calls.
Just chilling. Just pass to the other side.
Which is why I'm always going to be high on Mohamed Sanu, because Mohamed Sanu, to me, is twice as effective as Julio Jones in the red zone.
Yep, he's right.
And then we got the Bengals going to the Cleveland Browns home. Both these teams
Battle of
0-3.
Ohio.
The battle.
Yeah, I think AJ Green is going to continue his march to number 1. Right now, he's sitting at number 5 after y'all bad talked him, so he's still on the march to number 1.
After y'all bad talked him, who bad talked him? Who bad talked him?
You know who I always like to bad talk my players. You know who else?
I didn't talk that boy Green.
You know who else?
I told people
Mr. AJ ain't looking so good. He had 6 for 60. AJ look at 12-5.
No. Who said that? I didn't say that AJ's not looking too good. I said that the squeaky wheel gets the wheel. When he started complaining, that's all I was waiting for. Because guess what? In 2 leagues, I struck gold trades to get AJ Green because I just wanted him to start off bad because I knew he was going to start off bad because of their schedule. And what happens?
He didn't start off bad, bro. He still had 11 points. You just talked about Lamar Miller having his little 11 points. This guy had 11 points too. Then back though, he got his 20.
So you can just get off that right now, because Lamar's about.
No. This is where you make the mistake. You just said Julio had. I mean, you said AJ Green had how many points? Where was AJ Green drafted? Where was Lamar Miller drafted?
Did you see the quarterback play?
Hold on. I expected more.
How long did it take him to take a touchdown? 3 games for a touchdown?
With AJ Green, I expected more out of AJ Green.
You got the most computer love Mike right now, like it's Roger and Seattle.
Yeah, you got that Roger Troutman thing happening. Sing California Love real quick.
Yeah, you full Tupac right now, bro.
Right now, you out on bail, fresh out of jail, California dreaming, boy.
Are you in Puerto Rico? Because
he got that Virgin Islands Wi-Fi working.
Man, who you got winning this game though, man? Who you think gonna go off in this game?
In the Buffalo Atlanta?
No, Bengals Browns. The Battle of Ohio.
My bad. We're back on the Battle of Ohio. On the Cleveland side, I'm looking to see Crowell have a bounce back game because I think that they'll actually be competitive through the first half. So I think they'll have a time to actually kind of get a little ground and pound in. A lot like with Cleveland's offense reminds me of Chicago. I expect both the running backs to get off and not much else. I expect Duke to be heavily involved because he's pretty much a full-on slot receiver for them the way that they run their offense now because they're trying to keep as much talent out on the field as possible.
Him and Njoku own the middle right now.
And Njoku is a nice boomer bust secret because he's not going to get you that much in the way of targets or yards, but one of them targets usually seems to go for a touchdown. So that works out good. On Cincinnati's side, I look for Mixon to get his fair share. I also look for AJ Green, as you said, to continue to improve on his numbers. The biggest question for me is I'm trying to see, and it's pretty much a crapshoot at this point. I do not think that it'll be another receiver. I don't see Boyd or LaFell really making a big fantasy impact, but I think one of the other backs will. Which one it is literally changes for the Bengals on a week-to-week basis. I think that one of the other running backs is going to get in. And that's what I'm kind of leaning to because I think that they're going to be a little bit more pass-heavy and try to take advantage of maybe catching an overzealous front seven off guard. Cleveland does play pretty aggressive defense, and sometimes that can put them in a bind. And their back four isn't that strong, so I think that you may be right. As Giovanni Bernard swing passes, screen game could get a little bit of a look, get some points. But that's pretty much it on both sides as far as I'm concerned. Nobody else I would even think to touch, including the quarterbacks. To be honest,
Yeah, sit them both.
both
Sit
of
'em
them
both.
are too strong.
I'd probably play the Bengals defense for sure. And if you ain't got nothing else, maybe the Browns defense. Cause I think they both gonna have some interceptions, fumbles.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing about it. And
It's
again,
gonna
that's
be an
one of
ugly
those things
game.
that people have to realize when it comes to divisional games, man. Like
Oh,
some
it
some
gets
things you
scrappy.
throw out of the window. Yeah, it's
It gets
gonna be a
scrappy.
bloodbath. Yeah, it's gonna be a bloodbath. And the fact that both of these teams do not have a win, I think is gonna make it even more of a competitive game. Uh,
Cause nobody wanna be 0-4.
yeah,
Nobody.
yeah. Nobody wants that rolling down. It's a lot harder to be able to say, well, we're gonna turn this around. And
I feel like if Marvin if Marvin loses this game, he's gone. If you lose to the Browns
now
one
I'll
more,
say
I
this.
think that's it.
I'll say this. If Marvin loses this game, field goal, overtime, Marvin might be safe. If
If
Marvin
they get
gets
blown,
blown out, if
they
Marvin
get
get
blown
ran out
out.
by like 20, yeah, Marvin's out of there.
Yeah,
If
don't
Marvin
even
if
go to the
Marvin
locker
go
room.
down like
Just
41-20,
leave
stay
with
out of there.
the fans. Leave with
They gonna give that boy that Lane Kiffin treatment. Just you know what? You got enough for Uber, right? Because you're not that far away. Just just Uber it. Don't worry
yeah.
about it. Don't
All
worry
right.
about it.
Earth to Griffin. Earth to
Griff, you good? Have you made some modifications?
and nothing right there. All right, then on hopefully we'll get back with Griffin
Yeah,
soon.
yeah, yeah. Griff got to
Yeah,
work on
Can
that
y'all hear me now?
that T-Pain.
oh look
Yeah.
who's
Oh
back.
man.
The return of
Man,
the
let's hurry
Mac.
up and get through these games because I'm still mad at. I'm trying to tell DeMarcus that I knew AJ Green was going to have that breakout season that you so predicted, but with the first two games, he played Baltimore and Houston. I knew he's going to struggle. That's trade bait. I'm not going to draft somebody who I know that I can target low. And look what I did. I got AJ Green low.
Yeah, in a dumbass league, where they
Whoa!
gonna trade
See,
away AJ Green?
my man Griff likes to celebrate the wheeling and dealing. I see that now. He
Yeah,
likes to
like
be the riverboat gambler and wants to show
yeah,
you how
Sir,
he
I
came
yeah.
up
like to be a
big
trader, man.
on
Hey,
buying low.
hey,
Instead
man.
instead of being confident in the draft, come
If you
on, man.
don't buy low, you don't
I
go
mean, it
nowhere.
is what it is. It is what it is.
I didn't
Yeah,
got fooled off of buying low at Walmart, so I'm a man of buying low.
I feel you. I feel you. You didn't got Terrell Pryor full or AJ Green full?
Hey, I didn't got both fooled, man. Let's
No,
eat.
if you got
Let's
Terrell
eat.
Pryor full, you anorexic right now. You Allen McBeal. You
Oh, we
yeah.
starving.
gonna eat. Oh man,
Yeah, you
I had
starving.
Eli. No, I was good, man. He gave me 21 last week. I was loving it. I said, let's
That's what's
roll with
up.
this 21.
That's what's
Man,
up.
we got the Rams going into the Cowboys lit spot over there.
Trap
What
game,
y'all see
trap
in this game?
game,
Trap,
trap
Oh,
trap,
trap.
game,
trap.
trap game,
I'm
trap
standing in
game,
the
trap
flames.
game,
I'm standing in the flames with Gurley, man.
I'm staying in the
trap game,
flames.
trap game,
I think
trap
he's going to
game, trap
continue.
game.
I'm expecting. I think Jared Goff's gonna have a damn good game. I think he's gonna have a damn good game against these Cowboys. Now, I
What
don't think they're gonna
quarterback
be
has not had
expecting.
a good game against Dallas in secondary?
Yeah, because
That
look,
is
Carson
true.
Palmer. Carson Palmer was looking like
What
that.
quarterback hasn't had a good game against Dallas in secondary? I
This is
can't wait for next week
Green Bay's gonna light that ass. Oh,
off 10 days rest. Off 10 days rest.
woo-wee.
They will have both tackles for that game, homie.
But
Book it because they're
in
not playing Thursday.
in this game, I would start Sammy Watkins and Robert Woods are both considered as flex for me. I love what Sammy Watkins did, but I still have to see it another week before I can feel fully confident in Sammy Watkins. Like you said, Jared Goff, you can
Now, see,
start
I
him.
feel that way about Woods, though. I feel more comfortable with Watkins than Woods, to be honest.
Oh, I agree. No, I agree. But I'm talking about from a flex standpoint because I feel like actually both of they might eat because the number two
Yeah, I
and the
mean,
Cardinals game kind of ate. So I don't know.
Well,
You
I
yeah.
think
kind of
both of Dallas cornerbacks are Awazi and Carroll. They both
That's
out.
what I'm saying. They both gonna eat, and then I think, like you said, a Gurley man. Gurley's gonna continue his Zeke pressure and have that impression and have that spoon and get to eating. And I can't wait till Gurley starts going off and he pulls that spoon out. He's gonna piss a lot of Cowboys fans off, but I feel like he's gonna be eating this week. So start him with confidence.
I look on the Dallas side. I would say only safe guys that I can really think of on there is gonna be Zeke for me and Witten.
Mm-hmm.
The wide receivers to me are too hit and miss. Although I think that good old Bryce Butler could pop one over the top again. Um, I just don't have that kind of faith in Dez Bryant.
I agree. I
Um,
agree. We don't have to be too long about this game.
until I see him be a little bit more physical, and until I can see him consistently establish separation from these defensive backs, I'm just not comfortable with what he's going to give me on the field. And as a result of that, those are a bunch of wasted targets that I'm going to see go down as incompletions for Dak Prescott. So that doesn't hear
Bode
me
well for
to
him.
him as well. Yeah.
I
Uh,
agree.
on the Ram side, love Gurley, love Golf. Those are the only two that I could say I would touch without question. Wide receivers are kind of iffy. I have a sneaking suspicion that this is going to be the Cooper Cup game. Uh, that
I can
Golf
believe it.
loves to spread that ball around, and I think that Cup is going to be the one that's going to be open more often than not.
Well, I agree. Let's move on.
And we got the Lions going to the Vikings house, and another divisional game that could get
Ooh,
super
barn
sloppy.
burner.
But I think that the Vikings defense gonna step up, and I think these Lions gonna be losing their second straight game. I don't know
Start
who to trust.
everybody.
You gonna start
Everybody.
on the Lions? On the Lions?
Everybody on both
Ooh,
teams.
Mm.
man, a home game for Minnesota. I don't know. I probably take it easy on those
Well,
Lions.
here's the thing, and this is the funny part about that too. When it comes down to today's NFL and the way that we look at these games, the Minnesotas of the world, the Detroits of the world, the Atlantas of the world, they all have the same thing in common.
Good at
Playing
home.
indoors on a fast track, it don't
Mhm.
really matter.
I
Soda
agree.
crowd noise is just the same as playing at home. They're indoor on fast track. It doesn't really give them a significant advantage. You know what I'm saying? There's no weather involved. There's no real big crowd issues because it's a familiar opponent, because it's a divisional game. It's not like they're playing against somebody that they've never played before, a la in Atlanta situation. They know what they're going to get out of Minnesota. And the funniest part about that, people can say what they want to. In a lot of ways, Detroit's secondary is almost as good, if not a little bit better than Minnesota's this
That
season.
damn
Darius
Because
Glover,
they're
Slay get
all Hawks and a half.
Glover
Them
Big
Queen,
Slay
boys
get
off
slept
that
on.
ball.
Glover Queen gets slept on. Shit.
Well, both of them
And
did.
that's what I'm saying. You go through and you add that to the fact that you don't have consistent quarterback play from Minnesota, it kind of evens things out. And Matthew Stafford is gonna Matthew Stafford.
Oh,
Might start off bad
I'm fine
early,
with
but
Stafford.
he's gonna
It's
bring
just
it
that
late.
I think Golden Tate gonna get his, but the Galladays, the Ebrons, the Marvin Jones, I don't know about those. I
I
think
can see
Tate,
them guys getting it by default just because of the simple war of attrition. And heaven help the Vikings if Amir Abdullah and Theo Riddick actually came to play and they can run the ball,
boy,
because that's going to make those wide receivers even more dangerous, because Matthew Stafford is one of the most hated on quarterbacks in the league. But I tell people all the time, it's one of the most rock solid and consistent fantasy football quarterbacks this decade. That dude has been arguably a top 5, top 6 quarterback for a decade. He's consistent. Results that you
Yep.
see in
Yeah,
real
he's
time
good.
and their win-loss record, but he's consistent as hell when it comes to fantasy football numbers. And it don't matter who's out there on the field.
All right, yeah. Well, we got 8 more games, so let's go ahead and knock these out real quick. Oh, and then also my sleeper in that game is Theo Riddick. I think he's gonna come alive this game because once again, that's how you kill the Vikings.
Somebody for the Lions has to run the ball. Jeez
Yeah.
Louise. Somebody has to show up.
Dalvin Cook 120 in the touch. Then you got
Man, 2 touches.
okay. You got the Panthers going to the Patriots. Panthers are kind of dead to me right now, so I know
How
how
many?
y'all feel.
How
I
many?
start all my Patriots.
How many touchdowns does Brady have to go?
37.
Ooh,
He'll get
he's at
5. He'll
8
get
already.
4 to 5 today.
Yeah, he'll be down to 30. He'll be down to 31 by the time he gets done with this game.
I'm gonna tell you right now. So in confidence, you can stop your boy. You can start your boy Tom. I'm confident in starting Hogan, honestly, as a number 2 because he is getting those red zone targets and he is de facto number 1 wide receiver. And I liking the way he's been playing of late. He has the targets, been averaging 7 targets a game. So I would start him.
Yeah.
Gronk. That's a plug and play.
Who's the receiving back? Is it White?
Yeah, I think White is. It's gonna be a White more.
Whoever
of a White
the
game.
receiving back is for the Patriots, start them.
Yeah,
But it was kind of
gonna be a White game.
because Burkhead missed last game and White didn't do anything. But maybe those
White was playing against a much better
defense.
defense, in my opinion, than they're going to play this weekend.
So
Exactly.
But what I'm saying, if Burkhead come back, you really don't know. Yes, it's supposed to be White, but if Burkhead's there, he's gonna get a little bit of action too. But
One of
Tommy's
those
throwing all
funny
over the
things
field.
about the Patriots, though, I think that they err on the side of caution to make sure that guy comes back completely healthy, and you
Exactly.
really don't need him this week. That's why I don't expect him to to play this week. And that's why I said whoever the receiving running back is, start him.
Yeah,
Whether it's Burkhead, whether it's White, whoever the pass catching running back is going to be that day, start them because I think they're going to have a real good day.
And we don't have to be too long about the other side. The Panthers, I would start
nobody.
There's
McCaffrey.
nobody.
No,
I mean,
I would
McCaffrey is it.
I would
McCaffrey
start
is it.
McCaffrey, and also I would also take a flyer on Devin Funches. If you're in a pinch and you need somebody to stick in your flex, or you lost Kelvin Benjamin, I'll feel safe to throw Funches in there. He got 10 targets last week.
Man,
He's safe to get.
After that report I heard from the Panthers today, I don't know, man.
I don't trust anybody for the Panthers, honestly.
Right.
Outside of McCaffrey and the flex. That's it.
All right, well, let's roll on to the next game.
And we got the Jaguars going to the Jets. I think the Jaguars going to eat that ass up, start that Jaguars defense. Fournette's going to be a monster as usual.
I
think he's going to crack 100 yards this game, maybe get a touchdown or two.
Disagree. I don't think Fournette's going to have a good game against them.
I think
that the Jets linebackers are a lot more active than people give them credit for. I think that Fournette's going to have a hard road at it. I think that Jacksonville will be able to pass the ball. I think that Jacksonville will be able to pass the ball better, but I look for Fournette, that being said, to probably have similar numbers than he did this weekend because he had 57 yards in the touch.
Mm-hmm.
I think that probably be about his baseline in this game because the Jets, one thing I will give them, they don't have much. Their front seven is decent, and they have fast guys at the linebacker spot. Darren Lee is going to go to war with Fournette all day long.
I agree because they limited most of their running backs this season to under 70 yards. So I feel like to start Fournette, I feel like he's going to not go off, but he's going to have a decent game. He's going to get you about that.
Fournette about to be a monster this week.
No, I don't think so because, like he said, the Jets' front seven is pretty good.
It's active. They're pretty active.
It's pretty good, and then on top of that, he's gonna get a lot of his targets in the reception because he's gonna start to get a few more catches. Because I feel like the Jets are going to put up a fight at least. And I think that at least they'll put up a little bit of fight where they'll go to the ground and pound later on for the Jags. But I feel confident in starting Curse. I feel confident in starting Marquise Lee, honestly, because Marquise Lee is the de facto number one, and he has been having quietly some good games. So I would start those two, and that's it. Nobody else? Nope.
If Forte's out in a PPR, I start Bilal Powell with Forte.
If Forte's out, but Forte said he's gonna come back.
If Forte is out, Bilal Powell is gonna have a good game.
But if he's not,
I would also be a little interested in what McCown might do if you have a desperation flex as far as quarterback, because I believe one of those corners from Jacksonville is banged up right now.
See, but I wouldn't take a flyer on that because there's better waiver wire quarterbacks than McCown, in my opinion.
At least you hope it is.
Well, I mean, it depends on what kind of league you're in. If you're in a 12-team league, no, not really.
That's what Wilson got 4 quarterbacks on his bench.
Yeah, that's why.
Y'all can make me an offer whenever you choose. It's fine.
Well, I'm good.
Store's always open.
I drafted my quarterbacks. I'm a ride or die. So who we got his next game?
Oh, the Super Bowl champion Steelers are going to be going to the Baltimore Ravens house this week.
That's okay.
Yeah, they go.
And they about to lose 44-7.
No, they're about to lose 13-9. You know how those Baltimore Ravens and Steelers game, they're always low scoring. It's always a grind
games. Have you seen these Ravens? Oh my goodness,
I just saw these London Ravens. They look horrific.
That defense is still legit. Hey, I count London. I'm gonna tell you right now, London games I do not count as anything. I still think the Ravens have shown us enough that they have a legit defense.
I mean, they shut out the Bengals.
Stop it.
And Cleveland is just not that good.
On the road is terrible. Big Ben on the road is terrible. Do not start Martavis Bryant. Do not start Big Ben. You can start Le'Veon Bell, but I promise you he'll have a shitty game and still get you 22 points like he did last week. But I am not confident in no Steeler this game.
The Ravens
I'm always confident in Antonio. I'm sorry.
Antonio. Oh, yeah. You got to get Antonio some love.
Confident in Antonio.
The Ravens are not as good as people think. I think you can put.
But you say that even when the Ravens weren't the greatest, 2 years ago, guess what? The game was still low scoring. All the Steelers games against the Ravens are always
now
low
this
scoring.
Ravens team can't do anything with that offense. A few years ago, they had an offensive line that went to Oakland and they just lost Yonder.
Like I said,
talking about 2 of the best guards in the game are not on that team.
All right,
This is not your 2000s Ravens no more, man.
Like I said, it's going to be a low scoring game because it always is. And Big Ben is once again not good on the road. Did Big Ben look good against the Bears last game?
Of course he
No,
did.
he
Of
did not.
course he
So
did.
you think, oh man. So let's go ahead and put it on the board. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a low scoring game. You want to bet me that one too?
I'll
You want to
take
add
it.
another chocolate bar?
I'll take
Okay,
it.
I'll
What's up?
take
What
another
over under are
Starbucks.
we betting? What over under are we betting? Wait a minute.
I
I
got
think it's
I got Skittles throwing at least 21. They're gonna at least put 21 on the board.
No. I
nah
need an over. Okay. I'm gonna set the over under at 33.
under,
Total? Oh, I'll take the over.
under,
That's nothing.
under.
So that's y'all's bet, right?
That's good. Put it down.
33 being over under, right?
Write it down.
All right.
That's easy peasy.
Book it on the Baltimore side. I am confident in starting Javorius Allen. I know he had a terrible game, but I feel like he was. This game is going to be closer than most people think, so he's going to be utilized in the passing game. And then also fire up that boy, old Ben Watson.
Nah.
Yeah, running backs. No, running backs and tight ends are gonna eat on this team.
Yes,
If it's anybody you can depend on, it's gonna be the running backs and tight
Ben
ends.
Watson.
It might be
Ben Watson should-
another tight end, but it won't be that tight end.
Okay, all right. I say Ben Watson's going to be in the top 10.
I say and I might be wrong, but I just think that Ben Watson is going to get introduced to Ryan Shazier early, and it's not going to work out good. But
IDP.
I could be wrong.
IDP.
Wrong.
Yeah, then we got the 49ers going to the Cardinals place. I think the Cardinals should be able to bounce back on this game. I think unfortunately Palmer should have a huge game and get back on track with Fitzgerald as usual. I don't know what to think of this running game. I don't know who you should start. They
What
say
running
Chris Johnson's
game?
the starter. It don't.
I'm starting.
What
Hey,
the
running
top
game?
runner
Who you
got
talking about?
61 yards.
Well, we're not going. Let's be honest. We're not going to start Curry Williams or we're going to start Chris Johnson. They look terrible.
Man,
We're going to
I
start.
can't even name no running backs for Cardinals.
If you're in a pinch, the 49ers showed you that they can't stop the run game. And then if you're in a pinch, I would start Andre Ellington. He quietly got against Dallas. 7 catches for like maybe I forgot how many yards he had. So if my running back can give me, or my flex spot can once again give me enough catches to have a safe floor, I want him. So I'm starting him in my flex position. I'm confident in that.
Yeah, flex only. I'm gonna stay in the flames with Carlos Hyde. I think Carlos
Yes,
still
sir.
have a decent game. Pierre Garcon coming alive. I think
I lied. You know,
Peter Waiter.
I take that back. No, get out of the flames with Carlos Hyde on this game because guess what? The Cardinals showed you they can stop the run. If Zeke didn't pop off for those
that's
nice
all they got, though, man. That's all they got. I mean, in this particular offense, they gonna feed the man.
We're gonna talk about this later on our next show, but Carlos Hyde is a sneaky.
San Francisco actually has some better playmakers in the receiving game to take attention off that running games than Dallas does. So, once again, that's that Dez Bryant effect. When you know that he can't separate against your DBs, you don't have to go through and put
stack the box,
men over the top and stuff like that. So you can stack the box and stop Zeke, and then you make Dak beat you. That was just good game plan. I'll give them their props, but I don't think that's like indicative of the strength of the Cardinals defense. I think this Carlos Hyde is going to eat against them because of the simple fact that I think that there's more skill position talent that they're going to have to pay attention to in that passing game, and with the way that Kyle Shanahan calls his, and they did when they had to play against Dallas.
All right. Well, I like the way you talk, but I still think he's fishy.
And now, don't get me wrong. I don't think that he's going to bust off for like 110 and 2 touchdowns.
That's a workhorse back.
I still think he's going to give me 85 and probably give me another 35 to 40 in the passing game, and probably he'll get me a touch. And
Carlos Hyde is a fringe running back too, in my opinion, this week.
Hey, that's still startable.
Yeah. At this point,
he's still startable. I didn't say he's
better than a flex.
But yeah,
way better than the flex. But then you got the Eagles going to the Chargers on the West Coast. These damn 0-3 Chargers.
This Bulls.
Yeah. Who's the running back you trust for the Eagles? You got LeGarrette Blount or you got Wendell Smallwood?
For this week, I'm gonna go with LeGarrette Blount. But if in a PPR, I'm gonna roll with Smallwood. In a standard, go with Blount. Blount looked good last week, if you want to be honest with me. But I think Smallwood is gonna end up being his backfield because he's more elusive, and he also can tote the rod if he has to. In my opinion, and that's just
speaking.
Can
I go with the Ghost of Sproles?
Can you go with Ghost of Sproles? Oh yeah, you can.
Can I go with the Ghost of Sproles?
I'm going with the Ghost of LaShawn McCoy for 300.
Man, he's still alive though.
Hey, who's not a Ghost?
He's still alive though.
After some of those tackles that LaShawn McCoy, you feel like that Ghost is creeping back
man, I know that's right.
But yeah, on the Eagles side of the ball, Man, Zach Ertz may finish. This may be the best call me and DeMarcus have ever had. Zach Ertz may be the top. He may be the number one tight end in fantasy, in my opinion, when it's all said and done.
He's number 2 in PPR, and I don't see it slowing down. Oh, come on.
Until it ain't that ankle.
The best part about it ain't even December yet, baby. Because you know when he turned up.
Let me ask you a question. Do you watch it? Did you, Marcus, have you watched any of the games, the Eagles games?
I've watched every Eagles game, including preseason. I've watched them a lot because I like Carson Wentz.
His route running is not like a tight end.
Flawless.
It's pretty impressive.
His route running is great.
Watching, I said, "Shit, this dude is really good."
That's why you trade Jordan Matthews. I mean,
hey man, I'm hot.
And don't get me wrong, I poke fun and I give y'all a hard time and stuff like that. But yeah, Zach Ertz, when you look at his body of work, and more importantly, when you look at how he fits into the way that they actually run that offense, he has really no choice but to be productive because they're always going to make sure that every time they drop back to pass, he's one of the top 3 reads. He's one of the first 3 reads. He's not the 4th or 5th read or the bailout option. He's one of the first 3 reads. Yeah.
Offer it.
If you want
that alone is going to guarantee success for him.
I feel like confident enough to start Alshon. Alshon's quietly still having a decent season. It's amazing that he's not on the injury report. He's staying healthy.
That entire Eagles
don't jinx it.
Is doing that. They not all like explosive, but every now and then Aguilar have a good game. Smith has been consistent. Like he's not startable, but Smith is very consistent. Alshon Jeffrey do his thing.
Consistent trash.
Hey, it's
the mark of a quarterback that knows how to really distribute the ball. He's not locked in or dialed in on somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing that I like the most about
like a Falcons without the running back. You know, he got enough talent. He got enough talent around him.
For me, honestly, the only 2 guys that I would touch on Philly side is Ertz and Wentz. That's it.
Yep. I agree because Hayward is still going to be on that boy Alshon, so that's something to watch for.
Yeah. Still starting on the Chargers. I'm just starting Gordon. On the Chargers, I'm just starting Gordon. I'm not touching anybody else.
I'm starting Keenan Allen. I mean, Keenan Allen still gets peppered with targets, and he still is the number 1 wide receiver, and he still is productive. And Phillip Rivers, I just have a feeling, you know, I don't know what it is.
Philly's DBs coming back healthy this week? Are some of those guys coming back?
No, they're not. That's the problem. And I feel like this
now that makes him startable. If some of those guys were coming back, I'd be less inclined to start them. But if they're still banged up and they're still out, because I want to say it's at least 3 of the 4 starters,
yes, sir,
are banged up in Philly secondary. In that case, that makes him startable.
They're questionable to come back. That's the only reason why I say I'm confident. I feel like
that makes him startable.
This is the game where I think that the Eagles need to prove to me if they're going to have a legit season. This is the game that I've been checking for, and this is a game I want to watch. This is my 2 favorite teams going there. No, this is
sometimes them 0-3 teams or them 0-for teams that'll kind of push you and see exactly how good you are.
If you watch the games, Phillip Rivers, the offensive line,
been heartbreaking. Don't get me wrong.
They lost heartbreakers, but the offensive line hasn't been the greatest. But I truly believe
I don't know if they in Los Angeles or Heartbreak Hotel at this point because they
have no fans. They have no fans in them stadiums, and it's terrible.
I don't even call that fans. They can't sell out a soccer stadium.
Well, they already talking about moving them back. They can't sell out
the Dynamo game.
They're already talking about moving them back.
LA Chargers sound stupid. I like that San Diego flair.
And unfortunately, the part that doesn't help them is Jared Goff is in LA. That's not helping their cause at all.
Yeah, you can't beat
like the Rams look the Rams look 50 times better than the Chargers.
Yeah, you're right.
So I mean, we're talking about last time I checked, we're still talking about the division leading Rams, right? As opposed to the winless Chargers.
That is right. That is correct.
Not good for marketing. Not good for marketing.
And then the battle of the unfortunate quarterback situation when you got the Giants coming into Tampa Bay. Who the hell is going to go off in this game? Who do y'all trust? Do you trust Manning or Winston in this game? If you had to start one, Manning or Winston?
Manning, because he has to throw the ball, and that's all he has to
Manning.
Throw the ball. And Odell is coming into form, and then you have Sterling Shepard just skipping down the field.
But the saddest part about it is they're so structured similarly because both quarterbacks have what I call area code receivers, because as long as you get it in the area code of Evans or OBJ as a catch, you both got deceptive burners on your team. Well, one's not so deceptive. You got Jackson in Tampa. You got Shepard that's coming on super strong. with the Giants, I mean, they have situations that are so similar. Both have young, up and coming vertical tight ends. I mean, they have it at their disposal. It's just a matter of will you have your brain focused in to get your shot off. And right
Hey,
now, I kind of trust Manning waking up a little bit more than Jameis.
especially
I'm
with
not.
that defense still beat up on Tampa
I
Bay.
want y'all to. I want y'all
Yeah.
to. That's the reason why I'm starting Eli. But I want everybody to take notice. Brandon Marshall's about to come out this game. I feel it in
Well,
my
hell, how
spirit.
many catches did he have last
He
game?
got
He
he
had
got
6, 7?
six. He
he
had
got
6. But this is the game where Brandon Marshall reminds people, like, "Hey, I'm still raw. Don't
Y'all must
forget."
have forgot about me. Y'all
Yo,
must have forgot about me.
I mean, nobody forgot about Brandon. Brandon is still
I
a
heard y'all
top.
said I was dead. I
He's
heard
still a
y'all said
top
I was
premier
washed up.
talent, but he just got to show up, man.
no, he was droppable on a whole bunch of
Oh, he
fantasy people.
was. He
No,
was.
no,
I,
that's the thing
I
about it.
couldn't do it. I
See,
couldn't do it.
you
I
know what?
couldn't do it.
Can I? This is why I'm gonna holler at y'all for a minute, and this is why I like this show, and this is why we're gonna end up being one of the best shows out there because we don't give you reactionary advice. We don't see a game and be like, "Oh, well, Brandon Marshall didn't catch a fucking ball. You might as well drop him." No, we know what we see, and we see that once the Giants finally get it going, Brandon Marshall's gonna show fucking up. And
Well,
I truly,
He's a second half guy. The last 8 games of the season, Eli's gonna have
Exactly.
about 2 or 3
that's
300
what I'm
yard
saying.
games,
Let's
three
go.
touchdown games. So, yeah, I can see it.
Start all
It's the end of the
Giants.
first quarter. Yeah,
Start every Giants. I truly
except the
believe
running
Well,
backs. No running
let's
backs.
not
except
be
the
too
running
let's
backs.
say wait, whoa,
Not the running backs.
hold on now.
Right.
Let's not get too carried away.
I wasn't talking
Because I
about
don't
that.
see a running back for the Giants doing a damn thing.
Ingram, Odell, Shepard, Brandon Marshall, Eli, start them all. On the Buck side, I'm not starting Deshaun Jackson. I'm not starting Jaquiz.
Start
I
Ev.
will start Mike Evans. That's it. I wouldn't even start
Can you
Mike.
believe the Giants leading rusher has 53 yards? Like we've seen people
I
with
can
53
completely
yard
believe it.
touchdowns. Like this is
I can completely believe it.
I
this
can
What
too.
did they do to address that? What did they do to address that need in the offseason?
Nothing. Nothing.
that's piss poor. That's 53. Oh my
Oh,
god.
let's move on. I'm so
Moving on to I'm
disgusted.
disgusted. The Raiders versus the Broncos. Another division game is gonna get real ugly. Denver defense is back. I don't think they ever went nowhere. I think we just seen a lot of big names leave and kind of sold them short. But the Denver defense is back. I think the Raiders are gonna continue to struggle this week.
You can put C.J. Anderson out there, but I want to tell people Jamal Charles is coming. He's coming.
Oh, he's here,
He's
but it's the workload that concerns me because I don't think
see.
he's
That's the
gonna.
thing.
The bell cow
He's
days
not
are
going to
over.
have. Yeah, the bell cow days are over. But if they were,
He has the same touches as Chris Thompson at this
if
point.
if they were to give him a consistent 14 target, I mean 14 touches a game, I think Jamal Charles can give you. He can be a startable flex option every week because
He can.
he has
I
that
mean, this
talent.
career average 5 yards a carry. You can't deny that. But I just don't think they want to run him down this
No,
early in the season.
nobody. But this is the thing about it. Nobody's been doing anything against Buffalo, and what I saw Jamal Charles do against Buffalo's front seven was impressive. And if he can play like that, 14 targets or 15 touches a game, I like his value going forward. On the Raiders end,
The thing. What about Devontae Booker? I mean, you still got to
I'm
put
not.
him in the equation.
I'm
He's
not
coming
worried
back.
about Booker. I'm not worried
I mean,
about
he's
Booker.
still gonna get his touches. They still like him. I mean,
I don't think they're gonna run three backs. I
they
don't think
got
they're gonna
good
run three
draft
backs.
capital on him. I think they're gonna use him in some form or aspect.
We'll see. We'll see. When it comes down to if the Broncos are trying to get into the playoffs, they're going to go to that surefire thing, and their surefire thing is Jamal Charles. I
Ooh,
believe it.
man, over
I,
CJ and Devon.
I believe it. I believe it because CJ he has bursts of looking good, but CJ looks really fat at times. He runs real
But
hard.
he's 5'8". I mean,
I can't see him. I can't see him
he's
holding
like
up a whole
5'8",
season.
225. Like,
I can't see him holding up a whole season. And I truly believe Jamal Charles is still the best back, and I still want to own the best back in that backfield. And Jamal Charles is going to show it against Oakland. Oh, and on the Oakland side, I don't trust. If Crabtree's not playing, I'm not starting anybody but Jared Cook, in my opinion. Derek Carr.
Honestly, in this game is the game that I look at like you look at for Pittsburgh and Baltimore. I would not be surprised if I saw a 16-7 or 16-9 game. Winning it. I do not trust anybody in Denver's offense right now outside of CJ Anderson. I don't trust anybody in the Raiders offense in this game outside of Jared Cook and Marshawn Lynch in a flex. I think that this game is going to have a little bit more defense than people are going to want to give it credit for. And it's just those funny things about division games. And especially when you have an Oakland team that pretty much got embarrassed on national TV, they're going to look to bounce back pretty strong. And the other funny part about it is in the AFC West over the last 2 seasons, the Chargers, the Broncos, the Raiders, 6-6. Kansas City is 11-1. In division games with anybody not named Kansas City, it's a complete toss-up.
Well, I'm gonna stand behind my thing, and I said start your Broncos, start Simeon. He's my honestly. I'm gonna go ahead and drop some knowledge. He's one of my players that I feel like is going to be the hottest quarterback in this week. I feel like he's going to have a great game because once again, the Raiders showed me that most of the quarterbacks that they play have great games against him. Josh McCown had a great fantasy game. I think Simeon's going to have a good game. I think Demaryius Thomas is finally going to score a touchdown, and I'm also looking for Sanders. Sanders is a guy that I feel like everybody sleeps on, and he's going to give you some good points.
He's the Larry Fitzgerald of the AFC, like easily.
But it could go Marcus's way. Honestly, I agree with what he said.
No, I just have a funny feeling about this game. I this one a defensive battle. I think they can go to Oakland and play each other, and it'll be a 43-40 game. It's just funny the way that division is when it comes to them playing each other. They're so night and day different. Like Denver can go out and stomp the world outside its division, and then they'll turn around and go 3-3 in their division.
See, and I think a thing about Denver this year,
funny like that.
I think Denver's going to be like the Steelers this year. They're going to be a home team, and they're going to have their best games when they're at home. So, they're playing at home.
And they got the best home field advantage you could have.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think they're going to have a good game. But I can understand what Marcus is coming from.
Definitely. Then on Sunday night, I think this is gonna be a snoozer. Colts versus the Seahawks. I'm sleeping already. I don't think I'm gonna look at it. Shit, you think this is gonna be an exciting game? You think?
I'm sorry. If you are a fantasy football player and you're sitting at 1-2 right now, and you've been waiting for this bubbling to the surface of young Russell Wilson or Jimmy Graham, this game is gonna be hella fun for you.
It's Seahawks.
This game is gonna be hella fun for you.
I'm just waiting to see what.
Now again, we got to remember, we're not looking at this as just watching the football fans. I'm talking about this just purely from fantasy football. For fantasy football, oh yes, it's going to be loads of fun. I can't wait for Russell to continue breaking out.
I think Russell's going to ball out on the Colts, and I also
is Doug Baldwin going to play in you guys' opinion?
I think they said it's leaning towards that he's going to play. He said that he's going to play, but if he does not play,
who Richardson?
If he does, I don't think he's going to play the whole game. I think they might get him in for a small little set, get him some reps in, but I don't think they're going to give him a heavy full-time workload. I think Paul Richardson is going to play a bigger factor, and I think Jimmy Graham is going to play a huge factor in this game.
Tyler Lockett is
keep going.
Tyler Lockett is okay. There's two people that I'm checking for this game. Tyler Lockett is going to be the guy that I feel like is going to have a good breakout type of game. Game because the Colts cannot defend that over the top. Wide receiver, and I also am checking for my boy Chris Carson.
There it is. I was waiting for
looked damn good last game, and if he's getting the ball,
I was the first person to ride that wagon.
Oh yeah, you did. I give you your props. All hell.
He was an obvious. He's a power guy. He's a power guy with burst, and in that offense, that's what you want. That's the exact same thing that Marshawn Lynch gave him, a power guy with that burst through the hole. When Chris Carson catches that handoff, he's already going 100 miles an hour.
Not just the handoff, so CJ Prosite's not playing.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
That's another reason why I love it. On the other side,
going to come out.
On the other side of the ball, I do not trust anybody. I know T.Y. had a great game.
He had fun this weekend, but it's not happening next weekend.
The only reason why I say this is going to be a trap game, they're going to Seattle. People are going to try to play T.Y. They're going to Seattle, and Seattle lost. So they're pissed off.
I'd buy low on T.Y., but I would not start him this week.
Not this week. Not
probably. Buy low if you can. Probably wait till after the game to buy low. That'll probably be
you know what I'm saying?
That'll probably be the best way right there.
Let's talk about this other beautiful last game, the Midnight Munchie.
Oh, they got these Redskins in primetime, real deal, huh? Redskins versus the Kansas City Chiefs.
Thought it was a game, battle of the historically inaccurate stereotypical mascots.
Boy, that is just
So disrespectful.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Well, shout
Nobody
out.
on the reservations is watching this game. F this game.
Yeah, they say fuck this shit.
They,
Give
they,
me
they
my
got
give me my country back.
they got to see the number one running back in fantasy football do his thing on Monday nights.
Oh
Now
yeah, man.
they
I
can't be
have
hating
to.
on my boy.
They got to see that shovel pass. That's what they got
Oh,
to
that
see.
shovel pass is gonna get touchdown.
They
It's
got
the
to see that
Browns.
shovel pass. Y'all
Hey,
don't
the
even
way
know.
that hey, I'm not fooled by the Redskins defense. It's gonna be 2 shovel passes for touchdowns this week.
Man, Andy Reid said he's changing the game on these
Griffin,
boys.
Griffin,
What y'all know
Griffin.
about this tight end shuffle?
We we
Yeah,
we starting Terrell Pryor this week.
yeah. I'm starting. You
We,
start Terrell? I'm not
I'm
starting
starting.
Terrell.
I'm starting
Good
Terrell.
luck with that.
In one league, just one, just
Good
one.
luck
I'm
with that,
starting.
fella.
I'm
Good
I'm
not
luck with
starting.
starting
that.
Terrell, but there is a guy that I am going to start, and he goes by the name of Travis Kelsey. I think this is the game that everybody stop complaining about Travis Kelsey. Oh, Alex Smith is playing good, but Travis Kelsey's not doing nothing. Guess what? The Redskins suck against the tight end, and guess what? Last time I checked, Travis Kelsey's a tight end. So put him in your starting lineup. Get ready. He won't be the number one fantasy tight end this week. That is Charles Clay, but he'll be like number 2 or 3.
And if Reed is out, Vernon Davis still got the juice.
Still, oh man, that dude, man, he was looking
Still
good.
got the juice.
Man, Vernon Davis is old and
Yeah,
still holding him and Frank
he,
Gore.
he had a little flashback, didn't he?
Man, the ball, power
Yeah,
of
he
the
ran a 4
bald
didn't
head.
he? Yeah, he
The
got a little bad.
power of the bald head. The
Man,
power of the bald
the
head.
Tupac bald head gives boy so many powers.
Man, in that thing, homie. In
Gore
that
looked good.
thing.
Gore looked good. And Vernon Davis, I said, man, these niggas is old but still holding it down.
And Tyreek the Freak, you can start him.
Oh yeah, you can
He's
start
gonna do.
Tyreek, man. He
You
looks.
can start
Yeah, he dope.
all the three primary options on offense for Kansas City. You can start them.
You know what? He's starting. He's
Oh
starting
yeah.
to turn into a legit number one wide receiver. I know Marcus did have his doubts, and he was talking about it earlier how he doesn't consider him a number one wide receiver. But the way that Kansas City
That they get him the
utilize
ball.
him is
Yeah.
impressive.
He's a one by default, not
Okay.
by
Hey,
accomplishment.
hey, by
But I
default,
mean,
but
it still is what
they
it is,
trade
whether it's
away.
by
It's like
default or
Hopkins.
whatever.
They cut their number
Yeah.
one. I mean,
It's
I
like
can't.
Hopkins. It's like Hopkins. So Hopkins is not really a
Oh,
true number one, but
I
they
wish
use him as
Hopkins
one.
had his speed. Shit,
Yeah.
he'd be Julio Jones at that
I'm,
Oh,
I'm
point.
it'd
sure
be
there's a
killer.
lot of players that wish they had Tyreek Hill speed.
You know
Shit,
what I'm
I
saying?
wish I had his speed, man.
Can't stop the freak. All right, man. Let's get into our oven, microwave, and refrigerated players, man. Who y'all want to start with?
It's your call.
I'll go ahead and knock it out if y'all don't mind.
Go ahead, man.
Do
It's
your
a guy
thing.
we talked. It's a guy we talked about earlier. It's a guy that has a great matchup. I'm licking my chops to wake up and see what he did for my team because I sure won't be watching this game. But my boy Russell Wilson is my oven. He's my hot start of the week. I feel like Russell Wilson had the coming out party yesterday. Yesterday on Sunday, and the offensive line is still shaky, but I think he can get it going against the Colts because guess what? There's a quarterback in with the Browns that kind of went off against the Colts, and I think that Russell Wilson is better than Kaiser. So line them up.
Nice, nice. For the oven, I got not one, but two players. I had to
Ooh,
take one of y'all moves, you bastard.
ooh.
But I got my man Todd Gurley standing in flames, and I'm also hopping in the flames with Joe Mixon because the carries will be there and he will have an explosive game. Start both of them with confidence. You have no problem with
Hey, you
two
forgot about your
running backs
quarterback,
is going to be in the top 10.
boy. You forgot about your quarterback.
I ain't had no quarterback. I just got one. I just got one, so we can be quick, baby.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. Oh,
well,
I thought we. Oh man, that threw me
yeah.
off.
I
I thought
mean,
we were doing
the
one
Marcus
each.
changed the game up, but I was doing
He sure
'cause
did.
I have mine for all my positions. You
Same
know,
here. I just
I
got
try
one position.
I try to do my homework, but it's all good. It's all good. I'm
Then
gonna go
okay,
ahead.
we'll do it then, Marcus. We'll go ahead and knock that out then.
The Marcus want to be all trend setting and whatnot.
Really, I got one. That's all I
Uh,
need is just
That's
one.
all you need is one.
you know what I'm saying? That's all I need, player. That's all I need.
We already gave him the fish and the
For my
gritty. Come on.
quarterback, in the grand tradition, for my oven, it's going to be two, and it's going to be the usual suspects. You cannot go wrong with Tom Terrific or AR number 12. Both
Hey,
are playing
look at the
favorable
usual
matchups. Both
suspect.
are playing ball right now. Ain't no need to take that. Ain't no need to turn down that oven. It's steaming hot right now.
They never
Hot
come
right now.
out. You just
Yeah,
put
I
that
mean
oven on
that's
200 and chill.
suspect time. That's usual suspect time. Now for my running back that I got in the oven right now, will be that good old Seminole, Mr. Dalvin Cook. I look for him to keep turning and burning, keep
Yes,
on
sir.
running with that chip on your shoulder and proving folks wrong. I really see no slowing down in this young man, especially with the way that the offense is kind of coming around. And if the quarterback by committee keeps giving performances that they're giving to where it kind of opens up those running lanes, that kid is going to eat even more. Because if you can get 300 plus yards out of Case Keenum, Cook is gonna eat.
You might as well
Dalvin
just
Cook
go
is
ahead.
gonna eat.
You might as well just go ahead and knock out all your ovens. Then just go ahead and knock out the wide receivers and tight end too.
My wide receiver that's in the oven right now for me is that man that just reestablished and reminded everybody why he is who he is, and that would be one OBJ. Um, man said, you know what, enough is enough. I'm tired of y'all pussyfooting around. Eli, do it like we did last year, brother. Just throw me the ball. And he got lit. Some ridiculous catches.
And he was pissing
My tight
on
end
Marcus
that I have
territory.
in the oven. I'm saying the tight end that I have in the oven right now is a guy that's not really flashy with the stats, but I like the consistency that regardless of situation, regardless of score, they still try to get him involved. I like David Njoku, the Browns. They look for him religiously in the red zone, regardless. That's always going to be a good quality to have when you're looking for tight ends in fantasy. Even if it's not always the most productive, the fact that he gets the number of opportunities puts him in that good company. He's not elite, but he gets elite type attention, and that's always going to favor him in the long term.
And then for my oven, I went ahead and knock out my running back and wide receiver and tight end. I have Mr. Mixon as my running back that's stuck in the oven. He's starting to heat it up last game, and I feel like the Browns is the game he was kind of licking his chops for. Like, only if I can make it to that starting position against the Browns, the world can see what I can do, and he's gonna show the
Okay.
world what he's gonna do this week. And then also for my wide receiver, I have a man that me and DeMarcus just went back and forth about because this guy has the talent, he has the skill. The quarterback needs to wake up and play consistent football. Is Mr. AJ Green, who should ball against the Browns once again. He should have a very productive game. I really have him having 10 catches, 165 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's how I feel about AJ Green this week. He's in the oven for me. I love the way that the new offensive coordinator is getting him the ball, finding new ways to give him the ball. And Andy Dalton is not looking to throw away from AJ Green. Just throw it to him. Throw it in his area code, and he's coming down with it. And for my tight end is the guy that I've always been on the train with. Once again, he's the de facto Walmart version of Zach Ertz because he's de facto number 1 for his team.
Oh, great value.
And his name is Charles Clay, who was undrafted in some leagues, which is criminal. You found you a number 1 tight end on the waiver wire in some leagues. I drafted him. I was smart enough to draft him. I always start him with confidence this week.
See, y'all got all these players. Let me tell y'all who I'm heating up in the microwave. Y'all over here drowning us out.
Come on with it.
Then, homie.
In the
Come
microwave.
on with it.
Let me pull my popcorn out and put it in the main dish. My man Chris Carson, who's gonna be making his debut
Look at
as a top 12 running back this week. Heat him up, baby. Heat him up. I mean, it don't even matter how long you put him in that microwave for. He gonna come in. He gonna turn into a full course meal. He gonna be steak, lobster, catfish, shrimp, grits.
Oh,
We're gonna have fish, fish sticks. Gefilte fish, whatever you want.
Okay. Lox and bagels, homie. Lox and bagels for everybody.
Hey, he took it back to rush hour 2 for
Gefilte
that one. Gefilte fish. Gefilte fish.
I got Chris Carson in my microwave. Who y'all got over there?
Well, you got the same running back in the microwave as I did.
There you go.
Because I actually had 2, but both of y'all already put them out there, so I'm not tripping. Because I had Carson and Mixon in my microwave, so I'll just do my wide receivers. For my wide receivers in the microwave, one because I know that he's coming back from injury and he's ready to eat. The other because he hasn't had a chance to make his debut yet. Guys I got in the microwave, I got Willie Snead and Randall Cobb in that microwave. I look for them to actually kind of jump in.
Hit that 1 minute button.
They may not set the world on fire this week, but I think it's going to be a precursor of what's to come because I think they're going to put up numbers.
If you burn something in the microwave, you're doing too much. So
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I think they're going to get in where they fit in. I look for Snead to sneak in 6, 7 catches, maybe throw about 85, 95 yards. I don't think he'll find the end zone this week. but I look for him to be productive in a PPR format. Cobb, I look for to have a great game against the Bears. He's traditionally a bear killer. Anybody that go back and YouTube the division clinching fourth and everything pass, that was to Randall Cobb against the Bears. He has great games against him. I look for them to get him about 5 to 8 passes, maybe about 85, 95 yards, and I think he's going to score twice.
I
Did
love
you
it.
have anybody for quarterback, wide receiver, tight end?
Yes, I have him for all positions,
Go ahead
homie.
and throw them all out. Then you might as
Uh,
well just knock them all out.
But see, that's the thing. We so like-minded. Like my quarterback throwing the mic right now because I think that Tennessee game was just that primer that
Uh-oh.
he needed. Is good old hustle like Russell.
There you go.
Uh, I think Russell Wilson is gonna light it the hell up. And then my tight end is gonna be his tight end. I think it's just gonna be cause and effect. I think that Russell is gonna go off against Indianapolis, and I think that Jimmy Graham is going to be a very big reason why.
And then I like to throw, and I like to let everybody know that my microwave quarterback is a quarterback that I always knew was going to be hot. But he had to.
Oh
It
boy!
took this game for him to drop 5 touchdowns on people
Oh
so
my
they can
god!
remember that I'm not old, that I
Oh
don't need
my
Ben
See why
Gay
we
to
god!
only
get
need one
some
player.
fire up under me. It's Mr. Tom Brady,
Oh
Mr.
my
45
god!
himself. He is on the march. He has 37 more touchdowns to go. He might throw for 7 touchdowns on New Orleans because he feels like it this week.
Oh, this dude.
This man is on a mission. This guy
Carolina,
is this guy wants to this guy is about to revolutionize the way people look at old quarterbacks.
boy, you better stop it.
Hold it down, Tom Brady. Hold it
Boy,
down.
you better
And
stop
then
that.
for my microwave running back is a guy that I was kind of a lot of people I was kind of low on going into the season because what I've heard in training camp he was almost cuttable from the team, but I like the way he's utilizing the offense. I like the way he runs. I like that he may get dinged up from time to time, but this guy is the type of guy that I need on my team because he gets the catches and he's also the only running back that people don't be really checking for. It's my boy Carlos Hyde. He may not have the greatest week this week, but I like him going forward on how he's utilized in the totality of the game and from a catching standpoint as also running the ball. And then my wide receiver is one Stephon Diggs, who I've already sang his praises earlier. I'm loving what I see from him. I like him if he can get that consistent quarterback play, like Marcus was saying earlier, from whoever's back there. If he can get that, he can show out and he can have a breakout fantasy season. And as my tight end, I have a guy who I feel like someone should knock on Gruden's door and say, you know what, Jordan Reed can't stay healthy. Get him out there of it. Let's put Vernon Davis in him. The dude still has it. The dude can still run routes. He can still catch tough balls.
Left in the tank.
I loving him. I'm loving him. I'll throw him out there with the microwave that's heating up. Jordan Reed, go sit down somewhere.
There we go with the mic. As I open up my refrigerator, I got to move Martellus Bennett to the side.
Oh, yeah, move it to the side.
So I can make some room.
Full milk. That's full milk
Oh
over
my
there.
god!
So I can make some room for Superman, you know, because I think I got some kryptonite up in here too. Because Cam Newton, he going up in this refrigerator, bro, and I don't know if he ever coming out. I'm putting him over there by the Arm and Hammer baking soda next to the.
Damn, he way in the back of the fridge.
Oh, he way in. He in the back by those green beans you ain't want. You know the green beans with the juice, just sitting back there, like, oh, I need to throw that away.
He's back there with the food that got forgotten about, the leftover food that got forgotten about.
And now that you say that, I'm going to forget about Cam Newton. He's. Can I get a moment of silence, fellas? All right, Cam Newton is dead to us.
That's it.
It's a cold world. Cold world, homie.
It is about as cold as Martellus Bennett.
Ooh, wait, man, that was the coldest thing you've ever said on this show.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna go ahead and knock out mine. I'm gonna let Marcus have the ending of the show. I have the quarterback, the running back, the wide receiver, and tight end. These are people that I feel like should be okay going forward, but for this week only, they are in the refrigerator. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Do we need to grab a jacket?
Big Ben is in the refrigerator.
Get his trash ass in the get his trash ass in that fridge.
Big Ben over there with Martavis Bryant.
He got his leather jacket on.
Put him behind Martellus.
Over there with Martavis Bryant. I need you to go sit over there. You in timeout. You're not good on the road. You struggle against Baltimore, and I'm a proponent of telling people know that he needs to be there. And this running back, he's not in the refrigerator. I took him out of the refrigerator and I threw him in the trash can and I jumped him in the dumpster. I told the garbage man, come get this dumpster and come drop this off at the dumpster at the place that they're gonna drop all the garbage because I need to get him far away
Damn,
from me.
did you call FEMA? God damn.
Oh man, he
Man.
needs to be called on by FEMA because guess what? Mr. Adrian Peterson is droppable in all leagues. The dude is holding Mark Ingram back from greatness. He is holding Mark Ingram back from fantasy relevancy. I feel like if the Saints were to get rid of him on the team, I think that can sure some things up, and it can also elevate Mark Ingram to the stratosphere of being a top 15 running back because he is being utilized in the passing game, and he's still showing that he's a legit running back. And he is. I'm gonna throw my boy Adrian Peterson out to the wasteland, and he's out the refrigerator. He's in trash for me right now. And on the wide receiver front, I'm gonna let everybody know. I said it already. I don't need to reiterate it no more. He's my fishy, and he's also my refrigerator. That's Mr. Terrell Pryor. I don't like your effort. I don't like that you don't get the targets. That's the only thing with the difference between you and Dez is Dez gets 16 targets and he gets a touchdown. He may not get you the yardage or the catches. You're not giving me nothing, Mr. Terrell Pryor, and I don't like your schedule going forward. So you have been stuck in the refrigerator right next to Martavis Bryant and another person. The tight
Who has
end
more points than Terrell Pryor, but continue.
The tight end that needs to go in the refrigerator is a guy that I said that was going to go cold when it got cold, but he got cold when it's warm outside, and that is Mr. Martellus Bennett. Go in the refrigerator. Go in the refrigerator. Stay in the refrigerator.
Ooh, I'm chilly. Ooh.
That's my refrigerator, people. They too cold for me to handle right now.
I have never had so much hatred in my heart for two people as much as I have right now.
I'm sorry, they just too cold right
Never
now.
have I ever.
Ice cold. All right.
More than I wanted to hate right now. Oh, but it's all good. It's all good.
Well,
Can't do nothing about that until Marty decides to redeem himself. So
I hope so.
He got like 3 more weeks before
the expiration date is coming up.
Let me be a little bit more practical in my refrigerator choices.
Okay.
And this is again a week-to-week thing. It's not a long-term declaration or indictment. It's just the way that we feel from week to week. So folks don't jump off the deep end and be like, all them refrigerator dudes, I'm cutting all of them right now.
No, don't you cut these people.
Don't do that.
Don't you cut
They
these
just
people.
cold this week. They might find a way to kick out the fridge and jump into the mic real quick on you. But for my quarterback in the fridge right now, just don't really like the matchup. Don't really have a good feeling about it. I'm going to go with Alex Smith. I don't really think that Washington secondary, and particularly that Washington pass rush, is going to give him too much time to be able to function and operate. He's going to get a couple of shovel passes off, but I don't really see too much more outside of that.
Alex Smith is a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Get out of here, son. Get out of here, son. Get out of here, son. Nobody asked you.
Alex Smith looks rejuvenized with the new offense.
Sir, I'm going to need you to act right before you get smacked right, sir. Don't do that. Don't do that.
He does all these shovel passes to the best passing option he has in Travis Kelce.
Yeah. Good luck with that horseshit.
So funny.
My tailback in the fridge right now for me. I also think it's kind of a questionable matchup because I think they'll do a little bit to try to key in on it. I'm not very high on Todd Gurley this week.
Ooh.
Against the
Very
Cowboys?
high on Todd Gurley. Not very high on Todd Gurley against the Cowboys. I think that they're going to be a little bit more scheme specific. I like the fact that Dallas is getting some of their front 7 personnel back in the rotation, whether it be back from injury or back from suspension. I think they're going to be one of those teams that don't really believe in Jared Goff right now. So they're going to encourage the Rams to beat them with Jared Goff. I think they're going to keep loading up the box. And if the Rams win, it's going to be because Jared Goff and not Todd Gurley.
Hey, can I tell you, I don't want to knock your refrigerator, but the thing I like about Todd Gurley, and I also wanted to say the reason why I didn't want to trade him off, I know he has a tough schedule coming up. And even when the Rams are down or even when they're up, he's evolved in the passing game. He has a safe floor of like 5 catches, which I love for a running back. If you can safely give me, I have a guaranteed 5 points that I'm getting from you, even when he doesn't have the greatest rushing yards. He still has like 5 catches for like 38 yards. And that's the only thing I love about it. But I see what you're talking about. They probably will
And
scheme to
my
take him out
my
again.
answer to that though is Sean Lee and Jalen Smith.
Oh,
They
Sean Lee
have
looks good.
linebackers that can cover tailbacks out of the backfield, which I think is going to hinder his productivity in the passing game as well. That's the
And
only
Todd Gurley.
reason why. That's the only reason why I'm frowning on Todd Gurley is because I think that from a matchup standpoint, they're better geared to stop Gurley and let Goff beat them than vice versa.
Ooh,
Their
okay.
secondary isn't strong enough to say, well, oh, we're going to go through and just lock it down, zone out, and shut Goff down. And if
Ain't gonna happen.
Gurley going to have to be air, no, it's not going to work like that. They're going to jam up that box and they're going to prevent them from running the ball. And they're going to say, okay, Jared Goff, let's see what you got. You're going to have to beat us throwing over the top. And that's why I think that it's going to be a hard game for Gurley. That's the only reason why. For my wide receiver, yeah, as much as I like the kid, stuff like that, it's all great, it's all good, but you're about to go to a pissed off Pacific Northwest. So T.Y. Hilton, you can go ahead and relax. You can go ahead and take it easy, sir.
Stay home. Just stay.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
know what's so funny about
they gonna
that?
bring bad intentions to Ty.
And you know what's funny about that? I had him as my number 2, but I didn't want to read it off. That's what's
Yeah, I
funny.
mean Ty is just a. Well, I mean, you know, we're not
It's a
stupid.
given.
Ty
Yeah.
is just a bad matchup. It's just a bad
Mhm.
matchup this week, especially if you have no viable second option in that offense whatsoever to take attention off Ty when you're dealing with the defense like Seattle. They're going to prey on that all day.
Because if you can't
Fact,
trust Moncrief
not that
last
many
week, how
options
you
in the
gonna trust him
schedule.
this week?
Exactly.
The confidence
I
is gone.
mean,
Yeah,
you went through and you binged Moncrief last week. When the hell are you gonna start him for this week?
exactly.
I just don't see it. And lastly, at my tight end spot, just because I expect them to force feed that other ice cold dude, and just because of the fact that other players are back, I don't think that Lance Kendricks is going to repeat the 2-catch, 52-yard, 1 touchdown performance that he had this weekend against Cincinnati for the Packers against the Bears. I think that they're going to still give Bennett the vast majority of the snaps. I still think that guys like Geronimo Allison showing up, Randall Cobb coming back healthy will probably limit him in his duties. And one of the other things that I guess from a fantasy standpoint is to his detriment, but it's great for the team, is they really like the way that he can pick up and block because of the fact that their tackles are hurt. So he stays in a lot for blocking duties, which would limit his catch opportunities as well. So I just don't see him having a very productive week this week.
All right, there we go.
We got it.
That has been the oven, microwave, and refrigerated players for week 4. Man, damn good show, fellas. Damn good show. We got through a
Always.
lot. We gave the people over once again about 30 different names you can just break down, try to help your team out with. We didn't do much on the waiver wire because it was nothing on the waiver wire, people, at all.
At all.
Nah.
It was maybe like 3 or 4 names out there if you was lucky enough to find somebody. Hey, I found Larry Fitzgerald on the waiver wire this week. I don't know what the hell.
Wow.
There are
I know.
stupid people.
Wow.
There are stupid
I-
people in fantasy football every
I
week.
was so surprised. I'm like, I need a receiver. Larry Fitzgerald. Oh, okay, I'll just take him right there. Well, yeah, man. Anything y'all want to tell the people before we dip out of here?
Star coming back. We'll be checking that. Empire, I don't be checking for it, but I know people do, so it's back.
I was about to say that's tonight.
Any shows
Yeah.
you've been looking at, man? Like anything interesting on the TV screen?
Oh, I know Mr. Wilson, and I know myself have we have checked out that Def Comedy Jam, the 25th anniversary that is on Netflix, and I
Nice.
have to say it is
History
funny
lesson.
as shit.
About how long is it? About an hour and a half, 2
Hour
hours?
30.
It's about an hour and a half.
There
Great
is-
history lesson.
Mhm.
Chappelle steals the show.
Oh man,
I'll let that out of the
I
bag.
cried for the longest that Dave Chappelle is a fool.
Dave Chappelle
straight
is
fool.
taking
Yeah.
over Netflix.
But it's really, really, without giving anything away, it's really, really good. You get to know a lot about the show in and of itself, especially for
Mhm.
people that didn't grow up watching it, and you can see the
Impact.
awesome impact and influence that it's had on comedy in general, and specifically black comedy as it
And
pertains
movies.
to pop culture, movies, multimedia, period.
TV,
I mean, you're going to learn a lot about the last quarter century of comedy in all arenas through watching this show.
It's just amazing how many people have come through the Def Comedy Jam. Because if you look at the standpoint of
Now you look at now you think that's
they catapulted a lot of people in the 90s.
you
but
had
this is the thing, DeMarcus. You go through and when you watch this show, people that are sitting in the audience and it'll tell you everything you need to know about how important that show is. Because I've never seen an assembly of that many heavy hitters, big names,
Yes.
influential people,
Hey,
and it's not only just comics, it's
Def
actors, it's
Jam,
musicians there,
Def
and
Jam
the
tape,
whole nine. Yeah.
them
The
tapes
only
used to be it.
the only person that wasn't there that I wish was there was Chris Tucker. He's the only person that was not there that should have been there.
Yeah.
That is the only person. Everybody else was there. There is literally nobody I could have said that they forgot about.
The only people that were missing were the people that weren't allowed to be there. That's it.
Oh, who wasn't allowed to be there?
No, alive to
Oh,
be
alive to
there.
be there.
You know.
Alive. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Bernie Mac, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of comics that passed away that had good times on Def Comedy Jam, but
Hit it.
it's awesome, man. It is an awesome show. It's an awesome history lesson. It was something that made me feel real nostalgic because that was something that was out and about and real prevalent in my high school years, man. That
Nice, man.
Must be
late.
nice. I was 2 when it came out. I was 2.
Yeah, I stayed up late to get in and check that out and stuff like that because I want to say Def Comedy Jam came out my junior year in high school. Uh, and it was just one of those things that with that time, because the 90s did so much to influence black culture and society in general and stuff like that, and that was part of it. That was part of those things of us acknowledging the power that we had and starting to use the voices that we had, the influence that we had, and bucking that tradition of, well, we got to go and beg these folks to be on TV or beg these folks to be on their shows. You know what, the hell with y'all, we'll have our own show and we'll make y'all come beg us to come watch us perform. Y'all are going to beg us to go on tour. Y'all are going to beg us to do sitcoms and TV shows and things like that. And it was gangbusters because, like Griff said, when you go through and you look at the sheer number of people that have come through that stage on Def Comedy Jam, you're literally looking at how modern day comedy, TV, movies have been shaped over the last quarter century.
Once again, last night showed that the 90s is one of the greatest generations or the
Oh,
greatest
hands down.
eras of just
So
of
jealous. So
and
jealous.
I'm not trying to knock Marcus because I know Marcus is older than us, but I'm not even speaking from a standpoint of just me. I'm talking about the 90s and just how much stuff that was dropped. You had the more evolution. You had rap finally diversifying and becoming its own in the 90s, and then black comedians are finally getting their own due. Like they start breaking out more into movies and television and things of that nature. It was just amazing what the 90s had really brought to. I mean,
Here's the thing that you have to understand about the 90s, and this is a point that I think that people come sometimes get away from. The 90s was beautiful and special and the stars lining up correctly because you have to understand that that was the product of the children of the hippie movement and the civil rights movement and people starting to awake about their consciousness politically, socially, economically. That was their kids that grew up hearing their parents and their uncles and aunts talk about how they wanted to fight the power and how they wanted that revolution and how they wanted to go through and be their own people and have their own things and have their own voice and be unapologetically black. That was just the fruition of those people that were growing up with that kind of reinforcement and foundation, putting it to good use. It just happened to come together in that decade with that special group of people that were influenced in that manner. The thing that makes the generational differences come about is you go through and look at the parents, you look at the generations that precede those generations, which is why I have such a big issue with people coming down on this generation or millennials in general, because basically it's the fault or the shortcomings of my generation that causes the way that it does. If they had a better foundation, if they had a better teaching system in place, if they had people that were instilling those same values that those people that were showing improvement in the 90s had, we
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have the from
Hey,
this generation. But people don't want to be accountable for that. People were so busy after the 90s and going through the 2000s enjoying the benefits of that freedom and that independence, and it didn't become a thing of let's strengthen the family, let's strengthen the community. It was let me get this bling bling, let me show out, let me stand out above everybody else, and this every man for himself mentality. We had more people that were more worried about being prevalent and being popular in clubs than being mothers and fathers and taking care of their responsibilities. So you have the residual effects that you're experiencing right now.
knowledge has been
The 90s so
dropped.
beautiful is because it's a testament to the people that loved and cared and invested enough time and energy in us to give us those things that would make us stand up and want to fight those revolutions and want to stand tall or want to take a knee or want to link arms because you knew the things to do that were right and you didn't care about who profited over somebody else. It was about the movement itself. It was about us moving as a collective, as a community, as a race, and not just a black race, but as a human race that embraces humanity. Nobody wants to be oppressed or be made to feel inferior by anybody. And it doesn't matter if you're black, yellow, white, brown, red, whatever. In
Wilson went off
every
on y'all
single
for
one
it.
of those arenas. Yes, it's much more prevalent historically with us, but it does not mean that it does not exist anywhere else. And even in the 90s, we were aware enough and understood enough that while we were fierce and very proud of our blackness, we also understood that we were not the only thing that existed on this planet. And we respected that.
Man,
It's hugely different and missing.
there goes the Wilson
The words
knowledge
of
ranch.
wisdom with
The
Wilson.
word of
My bad.
Wilson.
Let me
From
add
Wilson.
one quick thing. If I may. I don't know if people have paid attention to, if they've been on the Fishing Grits page, they've had a chance to see it because I posted it on there. The Green Bay Packers players statement in which they're requesting all of the fans at the stadium tomorrow night to link arms during the national anthem, specifically to promote unity, to promote tolerance, to promote fighting injustices and people being oppressed everywhere. It's very clear, it's very concise in its direction and in its intent. Aaron Rodgers and his teammates can get what is pretty much acknowledged as the whitest city in the NFL to do something like that for those very specific reasons. That will be a very historic moment in sports history because it can't be denied. There can't be excuses made as to what was the intent, what was it really about, what were you really doing it for. It's laid out clear and plain. I will be very encouraged and interested to see if they actually go forward and promote this gesture and actually participate in it as a fan of football and more specifically as a Packers fan, because I think that that would speak volumes as to that by this whole Trump weekend thing, we still remember what the original kneeling and protesting was about, and we stand by that man, whether he's employed in our fraternity or not. So Thursday night, just give it a quick look, even if you don't look at the game. See if people participate, and if they don't, it'll say a lot about the state of the world. It'll say a lot about the state of sports fans as it pertains to their interest in politics and equality and things like that. And it would just be a very large moment in sports history, period, to see that big of a gesture by that large of a group of people.
All right, there you go.
I'm with you 100%, my brother. But man, we're gonna get ready to get up out of here. We're gonna be coming back to y'all boys next week with the week 4 review. Get y'all our fish and grits players for next week. But as for now, this has been Fish and Grits, and you guys have just been served.
Fight the power.
Bear down.
Peace.
Bear down.